Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to my live stream here. And we are going to be getting started here on the last part of the visual novel, You With Me, which has to deal with a marriage and a man discovering that he has cancer. I believe it's stomach cancer in this visual novel. And yeah, it started off really well. Part 3 kind of started feeling like it was dragging out a little bit. But we have a married man finds out he has cancer, and the first two parts I really liked. It really seemed like something very plausible that could happen in a marriage with a lot of bickering and fighting and you know basically both people dealing with realizing that they're going to lose each other. And part 3 started dealing a lot with her coming down with some kind of a flu type sickness, and I don't know if it's due to her stress of dealing with her husband's cancer or what. But there was a couple of times where she was really throwing up and getting really sick, and even the smell of her favorite soup made her really nauseous towards the end of part 3. But give me just a second, guys. We're going to go ahead and get started on that. Okay. Want to go ahead and thank you guys for being here. We're going to go ahead and get this show started here. Don't know who I have here. Show only one viewer right now.
Afterthought Studios. Touchy.
Okay. All right, here we go, guys. This visual novel is being brought to us by Afterthought Studios, who's put out some really remarkable visual novels. And hopefully this one will end well. I don't know how much is left in this particular visual novel. It could be a 15-minute playthrough here on part 4, or it could be 2 hours. I really have no idea how much is left. So far, we're about 4 hours into the reading, if you add up all 3 parts of the visual novel so far. So we'll find out what's left here. Alright, so let's go ahead and pick up where we left off, guys. It is, he's basically saying, sunlight peeking through the curtains upon my eyes stirred for me my good rest. I seem to be having a very deep sleep. Comforting rest these past 2 days. I vaguely remembered my sweet dreams of watching Lisa laughing and chattering away in a sunny, bright place with beautiful trees and scenery. Must be the sunlight peeping in and Lisa's muffled voice in the background. I opened my eyes and hoped to see my wife next to me, but I realized she wasn't, and that her voice was quite a distance away in the background. Who was she talking to in the morning, I wondered. Lisa? She must have heard me calling out to her, because I suddenly heard her voice soften into a whisper, and the sound of the study floor closing, or the study door closing. Wow, what is this all about, I wondered. A few minutes later, she appeared in the room, looking as bright as the sun. Good morning, Jacob. How was your rest, and how are you feeling today? She was certainly in high spirits again today, especially so since the events of yesterday, when she was sick and everything. I'm good, my dear, and who were you talking to earlier in the study room? With that, her happy face suddenly dropped into an uneasy look. Oh, that. Well, that was just, Susie. That sounds like a lie. Yeah. That is some BS. That was just, Susie. Susie? I was suddenly puzzled with this new name. I've never heard of Susie before in my wife's list of friends. Not that I control her circle of friends, but we do move on with the same people and have mutual friends. Oddly enough, we do not have any mutual friend with that name, and nor have I ever heard of Lisa ever mentioning the name Susie. No, that's not good. Well, yeah, Susie. Feeling a little curious, I decided to quiz my wife. I'm sorry for my bad memory, but Susie from where exactly? She seemed to be quite lost for words with my question. Uh-oh. Yep, he busted her. How you doing, Melons? What's up, dude? Susie from the pharmacy. Yes, the pharmacy yesterday. Yeah. Is she lying? The way Lisa answered wasn't quite natural. It seemed to me like she was either plucking the answers right from the air, or on my very inquiry. Though I felt a little baffled at her attitude, I decided to let it just slide. I mean, why not? Lisa could have met a new friend at the pharmacy yesterday. I really wasn't concerned about her... What? No. I really wasn't concerned about her meeting or making new friends, but the way she was behaving was just a little odd. How's it going, Radical? What's up, dude? We had our breakfast together, and she seemed to be still in high spirits, although her mind seemed to be a little preoccupied. She was humming in a dazed state and smiling to herself once in a while. Uh-oh, I think his wife has met somebody else or something. Not bad, chilling, and just so gonna head to bed and saw the Zax is on, so I thought I'd pop in for a few. Well, good to see you, Melons. How you doing, Radical? Good to see you here, man. Darling, love, whatever is on your mind today? Huh, what did you say, Jacob? Sorry, I was dreaming. Dreaming, huh? I smiled. Precisely, you seem to be very preoccupied this morning with lots of thoughts. I'm quite sure they're happy ones. Can I give you a penny for your thoughts? Oh, nothing much, just thinking, that's all. About? Is it about our trip together to Sapporo? Unexpectedly, her face changed at hearing those words. I guess she wasn't expecting me to mention Sapporo. Her mood changed immediately. Jacob, I already told you, now is not the time. Nope, I don't think that's what she was thinking about. She snapped at me. Taken aback by the sudden change of mood, I could only suspect that she was going through some extreme mood swings because of her PMS. Alright, well, you know what? We won't talk about it. No, let's just talk about what you want to do and your thoughts on the treatments Dr. Mark proposed. Looking pretty agitated, she sighed. Do we have to do this now, Jacob? Fine. Firstly, I'm not a fan of any of those treatments he suggested unless it's an emergency, like if you were bleeding really badly. And even then, I think a radiotherapy would suffice. I'm not really keen on you going through a full range of chemotherapy. She seemed to have suddenly lost her morning luster and glow, but instead now looked worried and troubled. I felt guilt washing through me, as just a few minutes ago she was such a happy, floaty state. Now it was for her bubble of happiness had just burst, and she had been dropped back down to the reality of Earth. Damn my sickness, it brought nothing but worries and misery to my wife. All of a sudden she went into a panic. Why do you suddenly mention that? Are you feeling sick? A look of worry and anxiety started to sink in now. No, I'm fine. Really, I've never felt better since my cold left me. Since 2 days ago, actually. I couldn't help smiling because it was the truth. I had been in such a blissful state these days. Oh, don't tell me you discovered blood in your stools this morning. Well, this game is interesting, but I love Zax's narrating. Thanks, Radical. By now, she was already in overdrive mode with her big, huge eyes. Look, please don't let your imagination run wild here, Lisa. I'm perfectly fine. I've had no bloody stools in a long time, thanks to my wife's choice of diet and menu for me. That. We need to thank Dr. Mark. It's such a relief you are feeling fine, Jacob. She gave me a tight hug and a kiss and let out a long sigh. I thought that we should seek alternative treatment like, holistic ones, where it was less intrusive. But we can wait till after your test and see what Dr. Mark says. Have you heard of chelation, Jacob? I've been reading up on that and making some inquiries with some friends. It seems to be quite promising. No, I've never heard of it, my love. Well, we should try it, but after your test. I don't want to complicate matters right now. For now, let's just not stress ourselves out and try to enjoy the rest of our day, okay? I can't agree with you more. She smiled and went back to her happy, dreamy state. What is this, AJ? The visual novel is good and all, but when you guys going to admit that you're one of the main protagonists in the soap opera, the Zax and Restless? Oh my god, AJ. My wife was sure in an odd, cranky mood today, but nonetheless still as loving as always. What? How do I keep winding up here? Okay. Alright. I decided to call my parents to check on them and let them know my progress. My progress, rather. Dad says, yes, hello. Hi, Dad, it's me. Jacob, how is my sonny boy doing? Better, I'm sure. You sure sound good and energetic today. Mom, Sonny is on the line. Mom. Haha, Dad, you don't have to scream that loud over the earpiece. Oh, sorry about that. I'm just excited. I'm sure your mom will be excited to know that you called. We were just talking about you yesterday. I heard Mom calling out from behind. Jacob's on the line? Yes. I'm coming. Ask him to hold on. I need to wash my hands. You heard her, right? Yes, I'll be right here. So, Dad, how are you and Mom keeping up? Please don't worry about me, okay? I'm doing well, and I'm doing really good here. We're great ourselves. Just your mom is constantly worried. Well, you know how she is. Every good mother in the world will always be worried for their children. What are you talking about, Dad? Hi, Jacob. I'm so glad that you're all right. Are you feeling better? Is the medication helping? How are you keeping up there? Any improvement? Did the doctor say anything? Mom sounded quite emotional. I could almost visualize her tearing up just from hearing her voice. Mom, relax. I'm fine. I just called to let you guys know that I'm well and I'm doing and don't worry. Also to check up on you and Dad. Oh, please don't worry about us. We're fine here. You just take good care of yourself for us, okay? I will, Mom. Oh, and by the way, I just wanted to check. Yes, Jacob? I didn't know if I ought to bring up the subject matter at that point, but I thought it would be good if they had a copy of my latest insurance with them, considering they were one of the beneficiaries on the policy too. I also wanted to check that their medical insurance was in place, as I seem to realize that was extremely important now. Not that I ever thought it wasn't, but at that point in time, I had realized the importance of having all the important documents at hand and well sorted out in case of anything unexpected or a tragedy. My parents were old and pretty careless with stuff like this. I was the one mostly organizing all these for them, but I thought it was high time and they had some idea just in case. You know the copies of the insurance I passed to you and Dad, and the ones I bought for you guys? Yes, well, why this all of a sudden? She sounded a little bit alarmed. Lots of laughs at Mom voice. I know, right? Mom, hey, don't worry. Really, it's just that during these past few days, we've been sorting out our documents and realized they were all over the place. And after what had happened, I just realized the importance of having these important documents all sorted out and at hand. I mean, it's no big deal. More like good organization. Please, Mom, just that, nothing more. I don't want you to think of that any of that nonsense, okay? By now, I heard Dad's uneasy whispering. What happened? What did he say? He must have heard Mom's concern. Oh, okay, Jacob, you're right. I can't even remember where I had placed them, for goodness sake. But don't worry, they're probably somewhere around here. I'll look for them, so you don't worry, okay? I sighed. It's just like Mom and Dad, pretty unorganized when it came to paperwork and documents. Yeah, okay, Mom, that's good. Thanks, and please take care of yourselves over there, okay? When I'm better, me and Lisa will make a trip to see you guys. Yeah, that would be nice, but not a necessity, hun. Just you keep well, Jacob. Dad and I love you a lot, and please send our love over to Lisa as well, okay? Thanks, I will, Mom, and tell Dad that I love him too. And Mom, don't worry too much, okay? All right, Jacob, I love you, and Dad says he loves you too. That was a good conversation with my parents. It felt really good. I miss them so much, and I still felt guilty that I only spent a day with them before putting them through a harrowing experience. I spent the afternoon doing stuff together with Lisa. She was constantly in that happy, dreamy state. And you know what? I was fine with it. We talked a little about our finances and plans, and she showed me some alternative treatment she had been researching. It was a good day, except that Lisa was still having off and on signs of gastritis. And that's not good. Day 14. We decided to go for a walk after dinner. Lisa suggested that we should, as it was a clear evening and the air wasn't that cool. It was a beautiful night with a full moon and a clear sky. It had been a long time since we actually strolled together or enjoyed a walk together. It was always fast-paced after we started work here, and I never really had a chance to enjoy the beautiful night view like this. As we were strolling along the park near our home, she decided to ask me a question. Do you believe in fate and destiny, Jacob? She was looking up at the moon, her face glowing under its light. Well, yes, Lisa. What is it that that is what brought you and I together? I smiled and squeezed her hands tightly. So, you believe that everything happens for a reason, like how we met, and what we went through, and what's going to happen in our future? I didn't quite understand where she was heading with all this. It wasn't at all very pleasing to think that it was fated in destiny for me to get cancer. But maybe in Lisa's mind it would be cured, and this was just a trial period for us. Yes, Lisa. She turned to look at me now with all smiles. I'm glad. I love you, Jacob. And I love you too, Lisa. I love you too, Lisa, very much. She chuckled with delight and squeezed my hands tight, and I returned her grasp. We spotted a bench next to the park and sat down. The evening air smelled good and fresh. The moon was beautiful, and Lisa was so beautiful. The atmosphere was one of serene and peace. Everything was so perfect. Lisa was resting her head on my shoulders, deep in thought again. I was sure she was enjoying the ambience as much as I was. We sat for quite a while in silence, enjoying the peaceful, loving moment. Words weren't exchanged at all, as we squeezed hands and kissed. Lisa stroked my hair. The air was thick with our love for each other. I would never forget that night. And he says, I wish to be here. I wish to be with you year after year like this, holding you in my arms and watching the moon till we grow old together. And me too, Jacob. Me too. We left after the air turned cool. I would cherish that beautiful night with Lisa and hope the heavens would allow me moments like this year after year until I'm old. Diary entry number 10. It has been a whirlwind of a week for me, with so many questions and thoughts and emotional states. Until now, as I am writing, I still cannot believe all that has transpired within this time. So much uncertainty, so many doubts, distrust, suspicion even, and now worries. That's not good. That is not good. I've already kind of suspected that when he saw his wife in a happy, dreamy state, that something might be going on. Kind of seemed a little bit worrisome to me, and now we see that he's writing in his diary about doubts and distrust and suspicion. Uh-oh. This is not good, especially for a guy already going with terminal stomach cancer. Not good at all. Let me try and recall and note down what has happened. Day 15. Lisa and I were walking under... Now, this is the very next day after the night that they sat there on the park bench together, it looks like. Lisa and I were walking under a bright, beautiful moonlight, holding hands again, and this time she was holding our sacred Bible, leading me into a forest. The place didn't look at all familiar, but I just followed my beautiful wife. Suddenly, I saw many familiar faces walking towards us and congratulating us. I'm pretty much Zaxtor 99, AJ. Why are they congratulating us? She laughed at my question and answered. We are renewing our vows again, silly. Don't you remember, this time under the moonlight? And she turned around and gave me a kiss. Such a precious moment. And then the earth shook. Huh? What? My eyes flew open. Oh, he was dreaming that? He was dreaming about renewing their vows? Oh, it was just a dream, but a beautiful one. One until the earthquake hit. I could still feel the earth shaking, or rather, was it the bed moving? Apparently, my wife had woken up and was making her way up from the bed, probably to the toilet, while I was lying down with my eyes closed, reminiscing about those beautiful feelings still etched in me clearly. However, Lisa wasn't making her way to the toilet in the room, but out of the room. I heard her closing the bedroom door in a soft manner. She probably didn't want to disturb me, not knowing that I was already awake and had gone out to prepare breakfast instead. I continued to close my eyes, but then I heard her talking in the other room. I really couldn't make out what she was saying in hushed tones, but I could definitely hear her talking for sure. But to who? At this time in the morning? Oh man, this is not good, guys. I certainly didn't expect this. I mean, I have no idea what's going to happen here, but this is not good. It doesn't feel right at all. Susie again. Her new friend? So early in the morning? Really? A weird feeling welled up inside of me, and I tried not to think about it. Instead, I tried to recall my beautiful dream. My dream of renewing my vows with my beautiful wife. I heard the door slowly open, and Lisa quietly crept her way to the bed, lying down next to me. All hell broke loose in my mind. What in the hell was this all about? I couldn't understand any of her erratic actions or behavior now since the day home from the pharmacy. She lay there for a good few moments and then slowly rubbed my back. Jacob, honey, good morning. I'm going to make breakfast, okay? And then I'll be headed to the pharmacy. My antacid is finished. Thought of getting a few more strips. You rest more, okay? I'll be real quick. Don't worry about me. Mm-hmm. As my back was facing her, she couldn't tell that my eyes were already wide open in shock. Honey? Ah, good, you heard me. I'll be real quick. I tell you what, let me run to the pharmacy first, and then I'll make breakfast, okay? I... I was at a loss of what to say to her at the moment. Too many questions and thoughts ran through my mind at this moment. I'll be fine, don't worry about me. She was already up from bed and going to the toilet, presumably to freshen up. The antacid is finished? Seriously? You just bought them the night before. Yeah, I thought I really didn't need it, so I just bought a strip of 6. She came out all dressed up now, ready to go. Do you really need it? You've been feeling quite okay, right, sweetheart? Yes, off and on, but just in case, it's better to have them at hand. Why? You don't want me going to get those antacids? Her voice was filled with irritation by now. It's not that, but why don't you wait a bit? I can join you and we can stroll to the pharmacy together like yesterday. Oh, no, it's all right, Jacob. I'm already dressed up, and by the time I wait for you, it'll be quite late. Breakfast will... We can have breakfast outside today. Oh, don't be silly, Jacob. You have to watch your diet. I better get going now so I can quickly return to prepare your breakfast. Yeah, something's going on here. She sounded annoyed and was quite upset by now. Her moods now. Oh, well, if you say so, love. Whatever. Okay, you rest a while more, okay? I'll see you later, Jacob. With that, she made a quick exit past the bedroom door, leaving me in a state of total confusion. Confused, I just lay there on the bed, trying to make sense of what just happened. From a beautiful dream to this. I didn't know how long I had been laying there, but it must have been quite a while. I started to feel the heat and brightness of the sun. An hour? Maybe 2? I was getting a little worried now about Lisa, but just at that moment I heard her coming through our front door. I'm back. Sorry I took so long. I had a long chat with, Susie, and kind of forgot about the time. She was back to that chirpy, cheery self again now. Oh, really? What were you talking to her about? Oh, well, she was telling me about the alternative treatments for cancer. Oh. So, maybe that was it. Maybe this was why Lisa was behaving strangely with the calls and all. Maybe she really didn't want to be reminded of that while she was making inquiries about it. Yeah, maybe I was thinking too much into things. I'm glad you're back safely now, love. Sorry I didn't prepare breakfast. I must have fallen back asleep. I lied. Oh, please, I don't want you making breakfast. I'll do it. And with that, she came and gave me a kiss, made a quick change of clothes, and went off to the kitchen, humming all the time while I was left dumbfounded with her attitude. God, hormonal imbalance must be such a pain to deal with. All these sudden highs and lows. Breakfast is ready. It comes so you can take your medication, too. By the time Lisa called, I had already freshened up and made my way to the table. Hey, Jay, when are you going to do part 404? Oh, my God. Are you feeling okay today, Jacob? By today, you should have completed your antibiotics. I'm glad it's a short course, too. If you continue to do so, by the time we meet Dr. Mark, I'm sure he'll be able to schedule you for the tests. Boy, someone is all excited and looking forward to my test. I smiled, seeing my wife in her hyper and happy state again. She pushed me lightly down into the chair. Come now, sit down and eat well, honey. You seem to be recovering at a miraculous speed from your cold. Who knows, maybe the result will show. That I'm suddenly free of cancer cells? I burst out laughing at my wife's adorable and childish naivety. Hey, don't laugh. You never know, Jacob. Yeah, who knows? I had to admit, deep down, I was holding on to that secret hope, too, despite how much the rationalist inside of me highly doubted it. Again, Lisa seemed to be preoccupied with whatever it was she was thinking about. They seemed to be very happy thoughts, anyway. Her eyes were sparkling constantly on her beautiful face, and I could almost swear she was truly glowing, and it was not just my imagination or reflection of light. Lisa, love, your face has been truly glowing these last few days. It's good. The break from work must really be doing you some good. Hearing that, she looked extremely pleased. Really, because I'm happy, Jacob. I'm very happy. Hearing her response, I felt slightly conflicted. How could she be happy at this time when I was still down with a damn dreaded disease? Or was she happy because we were now free from work? Or perhaps maybe it was because we were spending more time together? Or maybe we had finally made up from those previous horrid arguments. Or she had assumed I was going to be cured. Conflicting thoughts plagued my mind, but I brushed them all away because I knew it was just like Lisa to be optimistic in all her thinking. Maybe her response was based on one of those optimistic thoughts of her own. Well, I'm happy knowing that you're happy. It honestly makes me more thrilled. Her eyes lit up. Really? Of course, you're the love of my life. Whatever makes you happy makes me happy. Oh, thank you, Jacob. I love you. I love you too, sweetheart. It would be great if you'd share your joy with me, because I'm completely clueless what you're so happy about. I laughed. Oh, it's nothing. I'm just very happy and blissful right now, Jacob. She stood up, took a deep breath, and stretched hands over her head and smiled. I'm finished. Are you done? Yes, my love. Great. Please take your medication while I clear the dishes. She started getting busy with the dishes, but in an extremely happy manner. Still feeling a little confused with my wife's attitude, I decided to help her out, but she lovingly shoved me away. How is your stomach feeling? How's your gastritis? Did you take the antacids? Oh, thanks for reminding me. Do you mind? She pointed at the hand towels next to me, and I handed her one. Quickly wiping her hand, she walked over to her bag on a small carrier she left at the sofa. She took out some pills and popped them in her mouth, walking to get a glass of water. What was that, sweetheart? I thought antacids were meant to suck and not swallow. Why are you flushing them down? You should know you are not supposed to do that. Oh, these aren't antacids, Jacob. They're just pills for flatulence and to prevent giddiness. I don't think I need antacids. Says who? Maybe you should get a specialist's advice rather than prescribing yourself. Jacob, I'm good. Don't worry. The pharmacist said it's okay. It isn't self-prescribed, Jacob. With that, she threw her head back in laughter and came back to continue with the dishes. Go, let me do the dishes. Yes, I bought you a newspaper in this morning. It's on the coffee table. Go and relax yourself with the papers in the living room. I'll bring you a cup of tea later. Thank you, honey. As I approached to pick up the paper from the coffee table, my eyes glanced upward upon the carrier bag. I could see a beautiful pink book, something like a journal wrapped nicely in transparent plastic gift wrapper. Next to it, a little heart shape made from a colorful dried flowers, also neatly wrapped in the transparent plastic. I couldn't see what else was inside the carrier bag. Did she buy me some gifts? Were they for me? Was that why she didn't want me tagging along? Ah, who knew what Lisa was up to? She was always full of surprises, and I smiled to myself. Better I pretend not to know anything lest she'd get upset that I peeked into her carrier bag, especially if she was going to surprise me later. Softly, under my breath, I spoke. Lisa, love, you shouldn't be so careless and leave your gifts lying around openly. She was oblivious, still humming happily with cleaning the dishes. A while later, she came in with my tea, and upon realizing the carrier bag was just lying there with some of the gifts peeping out, I could see she was a little uneasy. Uh-oh. Quickly putting down the tea, she bent down to pick up her bag, in the carrier bag, and made her way into the room with him. I could only smile sheepishly at her behavior. She was in there quite a while, and then went into the study before coming out. Maybe she decided to place her gifts on the study table for me to discover them by surprise. Oh, my wife's adorable. She sat down with me a while and then proceeded to attend to her chores. I told her I would call my parents and would be in the study room to check on the insurance and other documents relating to them, and she nodded. Ah, good excuse to go into the study area without arousing her suspicion. Sincerely expecting to see some side of the gifts I managed to unexpectedly catch earlier, while practicing the different surprise reactions to call out and thank my wife, I was truly disillusioned and disappointed when I saw there was nothing on my table. But on her table was the beautiful colorful pastel diary, now fully unwrapped from its transparent gift wrapper or gift paper, and the dried hard flower novelty placed next to our wedding picture frame. Wow, so she bought herself a gift. Must be some hormonal thing, I thought. They say shopping is a form of relaxation for the female species. But then another thought formed in my head. Why would she need to gift wrap her own purchase? Could it be a gift from someone to her? And if it is, why didn't she mention it earlier? And why did she have to act so odd? Have you found them, and have you called your parents, Jacob? No, I'm gonna call them now. Not knowing what to do, I made a quick call to my parents. It rang a while before Mom picked up the phone, and she cleared her throat. Hello. Hi, Mom, it's me. Jacob, why, is there anything wrong? No, Mom, nothing's wrong. Just checking if you found the documents I asked you to look for. It's almost midnight now, Jacob. You're calling me because of that? Is everything okay over there? Are the documents very important? I'm sorry I haven't found it yet. I think we put it in the safe deposit box. I'll go over to the bank and check and see if it's there. I realized I was so consumed in my thoughts I had totally forgotten about our time difference. Feeling terrible at pestering my mom for this insignificant matter, I quickly apologized. Mom, I'd totally forgotten about the time difference. Did I wake you up? I knew very well they went to sleep pretty early. Oh, it's okay, Jacob. As long as you're fine. You sure everything is good there? Yes, Mom, please don't worry. Go back to rest and I'll chat with you again. I hope I didn't wake Dad up. No, you know how he is. He hasn't stirred since, I think. With that, she broke into a boisterous laugh. I'm glad to hear that. Hate to have him waking up too. Alright, Mom. Return and get some sleep, and I'm sorry again. I love you, Mom. Good night. I love you too, Jacob. Good night. Boy, that was really horrid and awkward. Everything about that morning and afternoon seemed wrong, and brought my spirits down, and it carried on until evening. Lisa was still oblivious about everything, and still in high spirits. However, by the time evening came, she seemed to have changed. Her mood was low and almost in an irritable state. Her face wasn't looking too well either. Sweetheart, are you alright? Yes, Jacob. Even her answer seemed a little lifeless and pale in comparison with how she responded to questions earlier in the afternoon. Are you sure, Lisa? Are you alright? You seem kind of pale. Are you in pain? Is your gastritis acting up? No. She was staring at the wall and not even looking at me with a robotic reply. Surely something must have upset her. Lisa, love. I'm fine, Jacob. Please, just worry about yourself more instead of me. Then, for no apparent reason, she broke down into tears. What in the world? You're frightening me. Are you alright? Tell me, Lisa, what's wrong? I tried to hold her, but she just pushed me away. She does look sad. I'm fine. Just please leave me be for a while. I'm just feeling a little emotional. And just like that, she stood up and walked out of the bed, or walked to the bedroom. I went in after her, not knowing what to do or to say. She was clearly upset and did not want to be disturbed. Was it a hormonal imbalance? I didn't know. What did I find? Hey, Amethyst, how you doing? She lay down on the bed and turned over to the other side. I thought I heard her sob a little. I tried to hold her again, but she shrugged me off. Maybe I'm just tired. I think I'm just going to rest now. Sorry for worrying you, but I'll truly be fine. She was pretty cold when she said that, and my head was whirling from all the unanswered questions. I didn't know how long I had laid there before I finally fell asleep. Day 16. I heard Lisa wake up and make her way to the toilet, and then towards the study room again, and I heard her shut the door. I heard her talking softly again for quite a while. This time, though, I couldn't take all this secrecy and unanswered questions anymore. I decided to ask her exactly what was happening. So I set myself up and was about to head for the bedroom door, but Lisa was already making her way in. When she saw me, she looked a little shocked and greeted me. Oh, you're awake. Sorry, did I disturb you? No, I was already up, Lisa. We need to talk. She looked a little surprised and responded with a little irritation now. Look, Jacob, not now, okay? What? She hurriedly went into the bathroom, and when she came out, she was all dressed up. Lisa, what the heck is going on here? You're going out again? Yes, I'll be back in a while. Really, I'm in a hurry, okay? So whatever it is we need to talk about, I'll talk about it with you when I get back. No, Lisa, this is quite worrying. Why all of a sudden do you need to go out? I mean, where are you planning to go now? To the pharmacy. Huh. This time, all hell broke loose in my head. What? The pharmacy again? You just went there yesterday, Lisa. For God's sake, what is it with you and the pharmacy? Stop yelling, Jacob. I don't have time to argue with you right now. Shockingly, tears started streaming down her face. Oh, wow. I'll be right back, okay? Wow. And just like that, she left. I was stunned, sitting on the bed. My head started spinning at everything that had transpired. It was so unreal. What the hell was happening here? I sat and waited for a long hour, getting impatient with all the questions whirling around in my head, but worrying for her at the same time. I picked up the phone and I called her cell phone. It rang for quite a while before going to her voicemail. I could feel my blood freeze at that point, from anger to concern to total confusion. However, a few seconds later, a message came back from her. It read, Sorry, I can't answer the call now. I'll be back shortly, okay? Please don't worry about me, and I'm sorry about earlier. Wow. What? Why can't you pick up my call, Lisa? Unpleasant thoughts started filling in my head. The secret calls, her odd behavior, her high spirits since visiting the pharmacy, her mood swings, the gifts, the weird question at the park, on fate and destiny and everything happening for reasons. All these things started playing in my mind, and I needed answers. Did she meet someone that night? Had she fallen in love with someone else? Is that why she was glowing all the time since that night? I was getting more upset by the minute, and then another thought hit me. Wait a minute, how could I blame her? She was still young and beautiful. I couldn't shame her to a man who was dying. She deserved a new lease on life. She deserved to be happy too. She didn't have a future here with me. Oh man, that's tough. But she really, I mean, she couldn't wait until I was dead? What we had, it didn't mean anything to her? Had her love truly died for me just like that? Like the Bible that was lost forever? I put my hands up to my face and I couldn't control the sudden emotion that swept through me. Tears starting to sting my eyes. Radical Gaming's like, yes, her love died. Simple. It had been 2.5 hours, and she still wasn't home. I had decided to assume she went to the pharmacy down the street, as that was the only pharmacy we frequent, since it was closest to our house. I called her again, and this time, thankfully, she answered. I'm sorry, Jacob. I'm on my way home now. I could only manage a weak response. Okay. And I hung up the phone. I decided I would still make my way there and see if she was walking home from there. I would meet her halfway. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, something's about to happen. So I locked the door and walked down the street. Ahead of me, a few doors from our house, I saw a cab stop and a figure rushing out. To my utter surprise, it was Lisa, and she seemed to be furiously collecting her change from the cab driver. She didn't even realize I was staring right at her. Why did she need a cab if she was coming from the pharmacy just down the street? And most importantly, if it was a different pharmacy that we had visited for whatever reason, why did she need to have the taxi stop a few doors away from our house? Oh boy. More unpleasant thoughts flooded my mind. Unless she was hiding something and didn't want me to know that she went somewhere else. Oh, stop it, Jacob, I thought to myself. I was sure there was a good explanation for all of this. Maybe she met a friend and decided to go out to catch up a session over coffee. At that instant, Lisa set off, walking fast towards her house and towards me. When her eyes met mine about 7 feet away and had realized that she had what she had seen, her face completely, or when she had realized what she had seen, her face turned completely pale and her eyes were completely filled with guilt. Guilt of having been found out. She stood there frozen for a good long moment before composing herself and walked slowly towards me while looking down. My eyes started to sting again. Waves and waves of emotion flooded me all over again. No more was I going to make excuses for her. Her look betrayed her completely. The truth was now staring right at me. I didn't know what to say or do. I could feel rage, jealousy, betrayal, and self-pity all at once running through my body. Why was I at this lowest point in my life, for God's sake? When she almost reached where I stood, I turned away from her. At least I shouted at her, demanding answers about why she had lied to me, and making a big scene on the street. I heard her quickening her pace to try and catch up with me, and when she did, she tried to grab a hold of my arm, but I pushed it away. All the time, tears were rolling down my face. She tried to call out to me, but I just refused to answer. Jacob, look, it isn't what it looks like. I refused to acknowledge her, and she quietly tagged along behind me. Upon reaching the door, I walked in and sat down, trying to contain my anger and keep myself from screaming at her. She followed suit and closed the door. Jacob, honey, look. There's nothing to look at, Lisa. I've seen all I need to see. Damn it, can't you just wait a little bit longer? It's just going to be a matter of months before I die. Do you have to hurt me like this before I freaking die? Oh, stop it, Jacob. You're spinning everything. I cut her sentence off abruptly. I'm not spinning anything. It's you who should stop spinning. Spinning tales and lies while pretending to still love and care for me. I was screaming and sobbing at the same time. What happened to our love? You gave it up just like that because I'm dying? By now, she was also crying and coming over to hold me, but I pushed her forcefully away. No, Jacob, I never did. You got it all wrong. I understand what you're thinking, but please listen to me. It's not like what it seems to be. I beg you, will you please just listen to me? She was hysterically crying now and begging for me to listen to her. There was nothing else to hear. Why not listen to what else she had to spin? I mean, sure, Lisa, tell me. I'm all ears now. I've always been all ears these past few days. Tell me, what am I missing? I'm not having an affair, if that's what you're thinking. I am still so much in love with you, and only you, Jacob. Sure, Lisa, because I complete you. I complete us. The mere words, having an affair, that came out blatantly from her mouth just burned so deeply into my soul. Like, why would she say that, right? It's true, Jacob. Yeah, if it's so true, then why do you need to look for someone else? Are you with someone else? You're with someone else, aren't you? Someone who has a future and not dying like me. That's it, right, Lisa? By now, I was screaming at the top of my lungs while she sobbed uncontrollably. Jacob, please stop it. You're only stressing yourself. Will you listen to me? No, Lisa. It's you who are stressing me and killing me with your lying and your cheating heart. With those words, she gasped aloud and screamed back at me. I have not cheated on you, Jacob. I lied because I didn't think it was a good time to tell you yet. I'm not seeing anyone, Jacob. I'm pregnant, you fool. Jacob, I was just visiting the gynecological clinic. Well, now you feel stupid, right? Hey, Falconer, how you doing? So all this time, he's thinking she's cheating on her. Now she speaks out the truth. She's freaking pregnant with this kid. Wow. Oh, stop it with your lies. Lisa, you... Suddenly it hit me. What she just said. What? Wait a minute, what did you say, Lisa? I suddenly grabbed her and stared at her dumbfounded. What did you just say? She just nodded and smiled at me while sobbing away. Yes, you heard me right. I'm having a baby. I'm having a baby, Jacob. It's your baby. I couldn't believe what I just heard. My legs gave way and I just plopped onto the sofa. A baby? But how? You were on pills, Lisa. Yes, I was, but I stopped about 2 months ago because I knew you were resigning, and I thought it would be nice and the right time to try for one. But of course, I didn't know what the future had in store for you then, for us, and I didn't tell you because I thought if it did happen, it would be a nice surprise for you. I was overwhelmed. But you went over to the pharmacy in the evening, and that is where you started behaving so weird and glowing all of a sudden. Yes, because I was feeling sick constantly, and especially with certain smells. I am also late, and I decided to run out and get a pregnancy test kit, Jacob, and it turned out to be positive. I was so happy and wanted to share the news with you, but I was worried it would add to your stress because of your condition knowing a baby's on the way. So, I decided to wait until Dr. Mark did the test before telling you, Jacob. I could only nod now. But wait, You were secretly chatting. Yes. When I found out that night, I was so elated I didn't have anyone to share it with. I called my friend Ellie. Do you remember Ellie? The nurse working at the ENT in the hospital? Yes, I called her because her ENT clinic is just next to the gynecological clinic, and I asked her to help me arrange for an early appointment with the gynecologist. She said she would and asked me to reconfirm the appointment with Susie, the attending receptionist there, and that is how the name Susie came about. I knew you were curious about that name, Jacob. Yes, I won't deny I was glowing with happiness and bliss and love. I'm in love with you, and I love the thought of the baby growing inside of me. Your baby. Things were beginning to make sense now in my mind. But the gifts. What about the gifts? Gifts? What gifts? The ones you brought back from the alleged pharmacy visit. The pastel-colored journal and dried heart-shaped... Oh, you noticed that too. Lisa was laughing now, and her tears had stopped, and her eyes were twinkling again as she continued. Those were the gifts I got from the gynecological clinic. They are gifts for all mothers-to-be. A journal to record the weight, the health, etc. on a monthly basis as a record. And the flowers, I guess they're just a novelty. Wow. Everything was getting clearer now. Yeah, I was even thinking that she was cheating on him or something. I mean, he definitely was. Falconer says Jacob figures out the truth. Lisa should have been open with Jacob from the beginning, but I think he's going to be happy. Yeah. Yeah, that distrust though. I mean, that distrust there, a little concerning, but I think they're going to get. I think they're going to get over it. And what was with yesterday, you were unwell, and this morning you seemed very edgy. Yes, yesterday after showering I realized I was having some spotting, and it worried me. Ah, that makes sense. Everything makes sense now. Distrust isn't good, but they'll get over it. Yeah, I think so. With everything concerning everything, I mean, with him dying and stuff like that, I mean, of course you're gonna suspect things. You know, especially when your wife's out, like, for hours at the pharmacy and stuff. Spotting? Yes, it means light bleeding. I was very concerned and worried that maybe something happened for the baby. Hence, I made the call to the clinic first thing in the morning and made the appointment to go see the doctor. A sudden chill ran down my spine. Suddenly, I was worried for Lisa and for our unborn baby. Is she, I mean, is the baby okay? Are you okay, honey? Lisa burst into laughter again, seeing me stammering in a panic. Yes, the doctor has checked and did an ultrasound. All is good, honey. Sometimes during the early pregnancy, some people do have spotting. That's perfectly normal. I sighed with a big relief when I heard that. Well, that all means... She was staring at me now with her big, beautiful eyes. Oh man, look at that. How sweet. Yes, it means you're going to be a dad, Jacob Cutler, and you need to be well and strong for our baby. Oh, I'm gonna be a dad. I kept repeating the words over and over in my head. It was such an amazing feeling every time I ran it over my head. I almost felt unreal. When it finally dawned on me that it was real and I was going to be a daddy, I just burst out screaming. Oh my God, Lisa, you're right. I'm going to be a dad. I hugged my wife so tight and tears started streaming down my face again. But this time they were truly tears of joy and elation. My wife cried together with me and whispered something in my ear. Yes, you are, Jacob. You're gonna be a dad. I kissed my wife non-stop and then I bent down to kiss her stomach. Hey there, little baby. This is your daddy. And Lisa laughed. And then another reality struck me. Oh my God, I'm gonna be having a kid, but I'm dying soon. The doctor gave me 6 months maximum. I, I won't even make it long enough to see my own kid. Now that's kind of a sad thought. Yeah, hopefully he'll live long enough to see his kid born, right? Hold it first time. And as I thought of that, I broke down. What, Jacob? I just sat and thought about my damn fate. Why? Jacob? Oh, Lisa, what am I going to do? I don't think the baby will ever even get to meet his dad. Or her dad. I put my hands on her tummy and just started sobbing as well. Lisa broke down, hugging me. And then she spoke with calmness, but in a strong, fierce, and determined voice. Hey, Kurumi, how you doing? Whatever comes will come, honey. We'll do what we're able and capable of. We will strive to get you cured as much as we can for our baby's sake, right, Jacob? Hearing those words, I felt a fire sweeping through me. Yes, I would fight hard to get myself cured for our baby's sake, no matter what happens. I will keep that hope and faith alive for Lisa, and for our baby, and for a proud dad to be. I would go down fighting to see my child born, and see him or her growing up. We both sat on the sofa for the longest time while I stroked my wife's stomach, while she looked on in contentment. About earlier, I'm so sorry. She put her fingers on my lips before I could even complete the sentence. Hush, let's not spoil the moment. Besides, there's nothing to be sorry about. Oh my God, I love my wife so much. And I love the baby too. I decided to take my wife out to dine in celebration of our parenthood status despite her protesting that I should be careful with my diet. I assured her that I'd be careful with our orders, and I was. Hey Angel, how you doing? That timing when he said hi to Kurumi though. We had the most wonderful dinner, and the only topic of the whole evening was babies. I told her we needed to tell our parents the good news the next day, as I was just wanted to spend that night with the only adoration for my baby and for my wife, and she nodded in agreement. I was holding my wife in bed with my hands over her stomach while telling her how excited my folks were going to be when they realized they were going to be grandparents. I also wondered if Lisa was going to tell hers as well the next day, knowing that they might be apprehensive in welcoming the news because of my condition. Well, yours surely will be happy, but I'm sure they will have concerns as well. I know, my love. I'll tell them. I will tell them, and we will brace for whatever comes. Most importantly, there is a baby on the way now. I smiled at her and the fact that the baby was really on its way, and suddenly my cell phone rang. Oh, who is calling at this hour? Should I even answer it, or should I just let it ring? Maybe I should just silence it. Picking it up from the bedside table, I realized it was a call from Dad's cell phone. Well, speaking of the devil, Lisa, it's Dad. Well, speaking of the devil, Lisa, it's Dad. But why isn't he calling the landline? That's weird. We often spoke through landlines because it was more economical, unless it was one of more urgent matters, like when Mom was shopping and needed to ask if we needed this or that, or if she saw something on sale that she could send to us, stuff like that. Well, answer it, silly, and surprise him with the good news. Zax is pretty much my idol. Oh my God, AJ. Smart ass. We both started giggling now, and I answered the call. Hey, Dad, we were just talking about you and Mom. Jacob. Uh-oh. Dad sounded weird, almost choking. I could barely make out him calling my name. And he was crying over on the other end. Oh my God, what is going on now? Now his dad's crying. This visual novel is nothing but a roller coaster of emotions. First, he thinks and suspects that his wife's cheating on him, and he's down and crying, and it looks like she's, being very suspicious. And then we find out that she hasn't been cheating, and she's been going to the gynecologist because she got pregnant, and she wasn't taking the pills because she was hoping that she would get pregnant. And he's really happy and overjoyed, and he's going to tell his parents about it and how happy they're going to be, etc., etc. And now he calls on the cell phone, and his dad's freaking crying. What the hell's going on now, guys? Oh my God. This freaking novel. It's playing with my emotions. What is it trying to do? Jacob says, Dad, are you alright? Oh my God, what's happened? In my whole life, I have never seen my jovial dad cry ever. And to know that he was now sobbing at the other end made my heart beat faster than ever before. My anxiety was rising by the second. AJ says maybe his dad is going through a midlife crisis, like Zax. By now, Lisa sensed something was wrong. She came over to me and held on to my shoulders. I clenched the phone so tightly that it felt like it was going to snap in half. Wow. Dad, say something. What's going on? Are you okay? Is it Mom? Jacob, something happened to your mom. Oh, no. Oh, no, guys. What? It's freaking novel, man. He continued crying uncontrollably over on the other end. Wow. Angel says, I always get minor panic attacks when my dad calls. First time he called me ever was to tell me my uncle died. He pretty much never calls, maybe once a year. So, yeah. So, Angel kind of relates, sounds like. Man, what's going on with his mom, guys? Is his mom dying? Did she die? What is going on now? Oh my God, I don't know if I can continue anymore. This freaking game. Or novel, whatever it is. His answer was what I feared the most. The way he was crying over there made me feel ever so helpless and worried. Dad, what is it? What happened to Mom? Where are you now, and where is Mom? I heard Dad talking to someone. The story has a lot of content. Yeah, I know, right? AJ says his mom got jumped by ninjas now, and now she's in the hospital. Pretty sure that's not it, AJ. It's my son. Can you please tell him? I can't. Oh my God. No, he's at the hospital. He's calling from the cell phone because he's at the hospital, and he's asking the doctor. He's asking the doctor to tell his son what happened. Oh boy, are we ready for this, guys? Really? Yep, in the hospital, just like I said. Stranger. Hello, yeah, sure. Hello, Mr. Cutler. I'm Dr. Carter at Mercy Heart Hospital. Yes, what happened, for God's sake? By now, I was almost paralyzed with fear. I was in a frenzied state, not knowing what had happened to my mom and what made my dad break down in that manner. Mr. Cutler, your mom had an accident earlier and was brought in to ER. She, yep, here comes the sadness. Yep. What accident? God, what happened to her? Was she knocked down by a car? Is my mom okay? By now, I was raising my voice, demanding answers, and Lisa was holding me hard on both of my shoulders as well. I was sure she was also in a state of complete shock from what she must have overheard already. Yeah, this can't be good. Mr. Cutler, I understand you're upset, but I appreciate you for not screaming and letting me continue so I can update you on exactly what's happened. so that you may know the condition that your mom is in now. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Please tell me exactly what happened, and if my mother's all right. Please, just tell me she's alive. Please, at least tell me she's alive. By now, I was hearing my voice demanding answers again, and Lisa was holding me hard on both my shoulders as well. Oh, wait a minute. I went back somehow. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. All right, so she is fine, Mr. Cutler, but she suffered a serious infliction on her brain. She has a massive internal bleed and a concussion, and she's in the intensive care unit right now. Well, at least she's not dead, right? I was actually expecting her to say that she died. But this is not good. She has a serious infliction on her brain, a massive internal bleeding in her brain, and a concussion. And she's in ICU. Not good. Oh, God. Will she be all right? Well, we're doing our best, Mr. Cutler. The staff is trying to stabilize her condition. But for right now, she's in a comatose state. Oh, no. No. Not good. Oh, God, no. What actually happened? Was my dad injured in the accident as well? Oh, no, your dad's fine, Jacob. I think you misunderstood. Your mom wasn't involved in a car accident at all. She was robbed and slammed with some sort of blunt object on her head. She was found injured by a passerby who alerted the police and called an ambulance. That is how she was brought in here. The police located and informed your dad of the address found on her ID card. What happened to her? I'm not too sure, but the condition she was brought in says that she was having a brain hemorrhage on part of her facial skull. So a brain hemorrhage in part of her facial skull was broken. We can only assume that she was punched or struck by a blunt, hard object on her face. AJ's like, ninjas, see, I was right. And who was wrong? You were closer than I thought, AJ, actually. Yep. I was thinking more like a heart attack, especially when I saw the heart clinic here. But I think AJ was closer than we suspected. Oh, God. I'm sorry to tell you this, Mr. Cutler. I started to sob uncontrollably with the knowledge of what happened to my mom. She didn't deserve any of this. She was a very gentle woman. Why would anyone do that to her? But why? I'm not too sure, but the police suspected it was an act of a robbery because she had just gotten out from the bank, and the fact that her things were strewn all over the alley. I'm truly sorry if I'm unable to provide you with any further information, and I am truly regretful for what happened to your mother. But we assure you that we'll be doing everything we can for her. And I sobbed. Thank you, Doctor. I'll pass you back to your dad now. And I was passed back to my dad, who was still crying pathetically. Dad, can you hear me? It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be just fine. Me and Lisa will be flying in on the first flight we can catch, okay? Oh, Jacob, why? Why must it happen? It's all right, Dad. She's gonna be all right. We'll be there as soon as we can. I need you to hang on and be strong. I need you to hang on to make flight arrangements. I'll be there, and I need you to be strong, okay? You hear me, Dad? We'll be there soon. And he didn't respond, but just continued to cry. And I hung up the phone. Damn, what the hell's up with this emotional visual novel? I think this might be the biggest yo-yo of a roller coaster ride I've ever read in a visual novel. I mean, this is just up and down and up and down. It's like the worst possible thing happens, and then the best possible thing happens, and then the worst, and wow. What happened, Jacob? By now, Lisa was also crying. She must have known something from my reaction, and when she saw me break down. Mom, something happened to her, Lisa. I was still choking, thinking of what had happened to my mother. She was robbed and struck on her head, Lisa. She's in a coma now in the hospital. I tried to speak in between my cries. Lisa gasped and hugged me hard. Oh my God, Jacob, how could this have happened? We need to go there now. Which hospital is she in, do you know? The doc mentioned Mercy Heart Hospital. I choked. We need to make arrangements, Jacob. Yes, honey. Can you please check the flights? I just need to be alone right now. Yes, I'll do that right now. And in a moment, she was already making calls to book the next flight we were able to catch. I like the Zax bot update. Yeah. I was still crying with both my hands on my face, not wanting to accept that such a horrible accident happened to my mom. Why my mom? Why? She was such a frail woman whose knees were so weak she would fall just from a hard push. She didn't even have the strength to fend off any thugs. Did they even have to go that far to hit her in the face or the head? Oh God, visions now frightened me and of how defenseless she was when they hit her. While she was probably screaming and begged them to stop while flashing in my mind. God, please, tell me this isn't true. This is just a horror nightmare, right? Why? Damn, those heartless bastards will pay for these cruel acts. Yep, immediately wants revenge. I was calling out to her in my sobs. Mom, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I wasn't there to defend you. Mom, please be okay. I'm coming to see you, Mom. I have good news for you. Mom, you're going to be so proud and you're going to be a happy grandmother. Please wait for me, God, please, I beg you. Keep her safe, please. God. Darling. Oh boy. She looks concerned after making calls. She was still in tears when she sat with me. I've spoken to my parents and told them what happened. They are at my sister's place in New Jersey and will be driving back to Brooklyn to meet us at the hospital and meet up with your dad. I think they'll be there in like 4 hours max, Jacob. I'm so sorry this all happened. She started weeping again and pulled my face up to hers. But Jacob, hey, you need to be strong for your dad and your mom. He only has you to depend on for strength. So please be strong, Jacob. You've got to be ready, as I have already booked the next available flight I think we're able to catch. Okay, Jacob? Yeah, Lisa, I just give me a few minutes here, okay? Okay, I'll pack her stuff. Oh, shucks, how many days more medication do you have with you? Do you recall? Is it 2 or 3? I don't know, Lisa. And frankly, I didn't even care. We were supposed to meet Mr. Mark in the next few days to replenish my medication as well as for him to check on my condition. But all of that, it was freaking immaterial now. As long as Mom makes it out of here alive and Lisa, the baby, and my dad are safe, nothing matters anymore. Nothing else matters. Jacob, I'm sorry, but we have to hurry if we're able to catch that flight. I've packed up what I think we need. We need to get you freshened up and changed right now. Looking up, I realized Lisa was all changed and with a packed suitcase by the door. Wow, she's good. I have also arranged for a cab to pick us up in 45 minutes. Honey, go get changed. Wow, they're getting out of there pretty quick. We are about to board. Why isn't he answering yet? Oh, he's calling him. He's calling his dad. Jacob, please calm down. It's the hospital. He probably had his cell on silent mode. Besides, he might be resting now. He's probably really tired from everything that's happened. Just text him, baby. I'm sure he'll respond whenever he sees it. Though what Lisa said made sense, I still felt extremely anxious that Dad wasn't picking up his phone. I've just spoken to my mom. They're almost there. She thinks they will get there in about a half hour's time. You know, the traffic. But we'll be on board by then. Jacob, they'll be there and they'll look after your dad, okay? Don't worry about it. As soon as we touch down, if your dad hasn't answered, we can always check with my parents, okay? I had no choice but to text Dad to inform him of our flight's arrival and that we would make our own way to the hospital to meet him. I also asked him which floor and unit Mom was on, but I was also so burdened now with so many thoughts. Was he not picking up his phone because something happened to Mom and he needed to attend it? Was he even okay there by himself? I love you, Dad. Please stay strong for Mom and us. We heard the call for boarding and made our way to the carrier. Well, I mean, it's easy to understand why he would be going kind of crazy in his mind, why his dad isn't answering the phone. But after just finding out how, the emotional thoughts can get the best of you and have you thinking 180 degrees from what the truth actually is, with him thinking his wife was cheating on him when she was actually pregnant, he of all people should know now to try to relax a little bit, not let thoughts get crazy, because we all know, if we've been in similar situations, dating or whatever, we all know how crazy thoughts can go and how your imagination can run wild. So in these kind of moments, guys, if nothing else, if we don't get anything else from this novel, it's when your emotions are high for whatever reason, don't let your imagination just completely run wild, because it can definitely lead you down the wrong road. Just remember that, guys. When your emotions are high for whatever reason, don't let your imagination get the best of you. That's our seat, honey. Try and get some rest, okay? It'll be a long day once we arrive. AJ's like, geez, who knew Jacob was so insensitive? I'll try, Lisa. You too, okay, sweetheart? Yes, Jacob. I love you. Thanks for being here for me and with me. How's my baby doing down there? Are you hungry? It's going to be a 20-hour flight, baby. 20-hour flight? That's a long ways away, damn. Lisa smiled. Oh, he or she is a tough one. You don't need to worry about that. Takes after the mother, and no, I'm not hungry at all. I have no doubt, my love, that the baby's going to be strong, just like her mom. But if you are, do take the in-flight meal, okay? I think I'm going to skip mine. We tried to close our eyes when the flight took off, but all I could do was sense Lisa had a hard time resting as well, because her eyes were shut. Even though her eyes were shut, I was exhausted, but my mind was still in an extremely frenzied state of worry for both my mother as well as for my dad. Both Lisa and I skipped the meal. Yeah, like Falconer says, best to figure out the truth and ask if you don't know what's going on. I must have finally dozed off because I was dreaming of Lisa and me laughing. And then she carried something over to show me, and it was our baby. She had wanted to pass me the baby when... Ding! Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to descend in 10 minutes. Please fasten your seatbelts and return your seats to their upright positions. The flight attendants will be making a final walkthrough to collect all trash and... Ding! But I wasn't interested in listening anymore. It was a beautiful dream and a very happy one. But upon opening my eyes, all the nightmares of reality came crashing back. The worries, the anxiety, the panic. And Lisa sensed I was awake and held my hand. So you're up, Jacob? Yeah, Lisa, you won't believe it. I just had a dream. Of what? Our baby. And I touched her stomach. And it was beautiful, Lisa. I really need to stay alive and see it, and not only in my dreams. Lisa was tearing up a little as she answered. That's cool. You will, Jacob. You'll see our baby. I can imagine, and I think that's the emotion that just hit me there, was like, I can imagine how with not even considering the state of his parents and his mom and his dad, but can you imagine being in her shoes and being pregnant with a man that you love, or that you're married to, and having his baby, and knowing the doctors already said some time ago that you have a maximum of 6 months to live, a baby, takes 9 months before it's born. So it's got to be really hard for her to be pregnant with her husband's child and realize that, in all likelihood, he's not even going to be there when the baby's born. That, I think, as a woman, would be like so extremely sad to be pregnant with a man that you love and realize he's probably going to die of cancer before your baby's even born, before his baby's even born. That would be extremely sad. And yeah, of course that hit me. So when he tells her that he just had a dream of her, of her beautiful baby and her handing him the baby or whatever, and he's like, our baby's so beautiful, and she teared up, that she's having those emotions. This is pretty heart-wrenching story. This is ending better than I thought. It's a little bit emotional, a little bit of an emotional roller coaster here, but I think that when he found out that she was pregnant and stuff like that, I think I was part of me was hoping it was going to end back there. It was kind of, just end on a happy note and be done, and, kind of let our imagination figure out in our own heads what happened next. But here we are. The visual novel had to keep going and take us back down to this low of lows, and have his dad call crying and his mom getting struck in the head by a freaking thug. So anyway, Lisa says, you will, Jacob, you will. Day 18. I was happy to be greeted with a few passengers from Dad upon touching down at JFK Airport. The first message read that he had fallen asleep and didn't feel the vibration of his phone, and he told me the floor of the ICU where Mom was at. The second message was informing me that Lisa's parents were at the hospital. In the third, he told me to take care of what he hoped, and he hoped to see me soon. He also apologized that this time he wasn't able to meet me at the airport as usual. My tears started to swell in my eyes again. I looked out over at the arrival hall where I was used to seeing the familiar faces of my parents somewhere among the crowd. This time, however, I was only greeted with a sense of gloom and a sea of strangers. The thought that there was a real possibility that I might never see those big excited eyes of my mom standing next to my dad, or her waving frantically to catch my attention ever again, ripped right through to my heart. Well, Jacob, from now on it may only be a lonely figure of Dad standing alone, by himself, the next time I'm back, I said to myself. Memories of my parents' faces together, waving goodbye whenever I traveled abroad from my schooling days where I joined excursions, or when I went on holidays, or how they would look so excited to pick me up for my trips, flooded together with my thoughts. All those years were those upteen times of fetching me from this very airport together. Those happy times. There may never be another one. Oh, how I had taken so many things for granted about my parents. Yeah, this is sad. Jacob, my parents just texted me and saying that they're already at the hospital and staying with your dad until we arrive. They asked me to tell you not to worry. Yeah, I know. Dad told me so in a message, and thanks, baby. It's good to know that someone is there with Dad at this time. And for 20-odd hours, too. I truly appreciate it. Well, Mom said she'd left Dad there a while and went home to get some toiletries and Dad's clothes for your dad to change into if he wants to, as he refused to leave the hospital. But she's back with them now. Oh, good. Bless your mom and your dad, Lisa. Come, Jacob, we better make our way to the hospital now. I just told my parents that we just arrived. Yeah, I'll text Dad now. I couldn't call him because I was feeling really emotional and I didn't want him to sense that, especially when I was not there to comfort him. We hailed a cab and headed towards the hospital. Wow, Lisa's parents are fast. Upon arrival at the hospital, my heart started racing again. I was worried and did not know what to expect. How would I react to Dad if he broke down? What would I say to him? I had never witnessed him crying before. In fact, it never crossed my mind that Dad was even capable of breaking down at all. I guess he was like a superhero in my eyes, always knowing what to do in every situation. Practical and strong. Mr. Fix-It-All. And Mom, I don't recall her having ever been physically injured before. The worst I'd ever seen of her was when she thought she fell sick and laid in bed for a few days looking pale. That was it. And I thought that was the worst I had ever seen of her. But now, both my parents, who had always been my support and fenders in my life, were now in such vulnerable states. It was unbelievable to me that they were in such a condition right now. I was so worried that my body would betray me and collapse upon meeting them. Jacob, are you okay? Let's go on. I was still standing at the entrance of the hospital in a frozen state, unable to move an inch of my heavy leaden feet. Honey, I know it's going to be okay. I'm here with you, honey. She held my hands tightly and slowly pulled me along. Man, he's just like a little kid. He doesn't want to go. He's like, it reminds me of, my kids on their first day of school when they were scared to death to go to that big unknown school. Kids are born and they live with you and they're with their parents or their mom or whatever for 24 hours a day those first few years. And then comes that first day of preschool or kindergarten, and they're scared to death to go away from Mom and Dad. Kind of what reminds me of what he's acting like right now. I mean, he's plain scared to death. As we were in the elevator going up, I could hear my heart thumping loudly, and I thought it would burst through any time soon. Ding! And the elevator stopped at the ICU floor unit. Angel says it did say that Lisa's parents were close by visiting Lisa's sister. Yeah, they said it said that they were like 4 hours away or something. I did not really know what to expect. So here we are, guys. Ding ding. Elevator arrives on the floor. The elevator door opened and we walked out. I could see in the seating area for visitors my dad with his head bowed down, and Lisa's father had his hands over him while her mother was standing chatting with the nurse. My heart started pounding like crazy again, and then Lisa called out, "Mom!" All three, Dad and Lisa's parents, looked up at the same time, and Lisa's mom rushed over to hug both me and Lisa. Lisa's mom says, "Jacob, I'm so sorry." Yeah, thanks. For once, I was truly happy and grateful to see Lisa's parents. I was so thankful to them for being there with my dad at this time when they weren't even around. My eyes fell upon my dad. He was looking at me too with the deep sunken red eyes, which were still filled with his tears. He looked just so broken and helpless, and he was still in his old favorite green jacket, the one that he always wore with Mom when they went for their walks together. It seemed like he hadn't changed his clothes from yesterday yet. Lisa's dad stood up, walked to me, and gave me a pat on my back. "Sorry about what happened, Jacob. I'm sure she'll be fine." "Thanks. Thanks for just being with my dad, too. I sincerely appreciate it." "No worries. Sorry about that, son." My eyes were still on Dad, and there were unspoken words of deep sorrow between us when our eyes met. When I reached him, he stood up, hugged me, and broke down, crying. I couldn't contain myself as well, and I cried silently. Look at his sad face, guys. "What am I going to do, Jacob? She's in there all by herself, and she's looking really bad. Why, Jacob? Why?" I had been asking myself that question again and again as well. Why? I tried to compose myself and sat down by him with my hands over his shoulders. It's okay, Dad. Have faith. She'll be fine. I'm here for you now. Everything will be alright, okay? I tried to reassure him and myself, and like how he always reassured me when something went wrong for me. And those were those were always his exact words. The words of my dad, which had comforted me so many times and had given me hope when I was young. Except this time, they were spoken by me going out to him. Now it was my turn to offer him what he had always been offering to me all these years. Time for me to offer him comfort and hope. And he just nodded. Lisa walked up to Dad and gave him a big hug. She whispered something to him and he nodded, probably some comforting words. Lisa was also tearing up and told me that she would be bringing her parents down to eat, and I quickly agreed. Lisa's parents had been a gem to stay for so long and to accompany and comfort my dad, and deserved to rest for a while. It would leave me some time, some quiet time as well with my dad as well. I sat there with Dad, not knowing how to comfort him much except sharing his pain silently, while he looked dazed with tears flowing down every now and then. And finally I spoke. Dad, are you really alright? He nodded. Where is she now? Can we see her? Can I see her? It was something I tried to delay as much as I could. As much as I had the urge to need to see her right now in her condition, I also had a bad urge to avoid it as much as I could. I was truly frightened to face what I knew I had to. He looked at me with downcast eyes. She's not looking so good. She got beaten up real bad. His voice choked, and I put my hands over him again, and I tried to sound strong. It's okay, Dad. She's gonna get through this. We'll get through this together. We need to be strong for her now, okay? And he nodded again. It truly pained me to see my hero, my dad, looking so pitiful and at such a loss. He was always the family's strong fort, the compass, and the rock. Mom and I depended on his strength and guidance, and he took this role so well over all the years. I could now only imagine the burden that he must have gone through, keeping up that image throughout all the years, so that we always felt secure, and so we had always had someone to depend on. Today I realized that my dad was a human and had emotions and fears, just like everyone. Not that I ever thought my dad was otherwise. It never occurred to me until now that he too was vulnerable and had his own insecurities. Now I have taken everything you do and did for granted, Dad. Thank you, Dad, for the strength all these years. I wanted to be the strength for him now, and therefore I needed to be strong, no matter what. Let's go ahead and catch up on the chat. Let's see. Falconer said, at least those were all able to come. Reminds me of what happened with my grandmother last October. Only she didn't make it. Aw, I'm sorry about that, Falconer. Sorry for your loss, bud. And I was the one that had to make the calls to get everyone into the hospital. That had to be hard. Yeah, Angel says that's tough. Sorry for your loss. Absolutely. It's a very hard situation to be in, and this brings back a lot of memories. Still getting over it. So sad. This is so sad. Probably more sad than it should be. Angel says grief doesn't go away. It fades a little when you go back to your, to your day-to-day life. But in times that you're reminded you have time to reflect, the sadness can still be as strong. That's very true. The worst is the fears when you realize you forget small things like the scent, the touch, and the voice. Yep, that's true, Angel. I don't think I'll ever forget the small things. Yeah, I mean, that's what you got to hold on to, Falconer. You got to go hold on to the good, not only the small things, but the good memories. I noticed that, like, my grandparents, when they passed, they completely changed, like, the last few years. with dementia and losing their memory and stuff like that. And they really became somebody that, I didn't want to remember them like, because I had known them for so many years, in a completely different way. So make sure that you hold on to really those good memories of them, not maybe the last passing moments when they're angry or, agitated or whatever because of their health declining. You gotta give them some, got to give them some room for being agitated or a pain in the ass or whatever it was that they were in their last days. Yeah, true, Angel. There's no such thing as being too sad. Falconer says, I took care of my grandma for about 17 years. I don't think those memories will ever go away. I was also very close with grandma, closer than anyone else. Yes, Zaxtorian, you have to hold on to the good memories. Exactly. And, Falconer, admitting that this is reminding him of his grandmother, I think that's exactly what the author of the story is trying to do. They're trying to make an emotional roller coaster ride to hit us right where it hurts. They're trying to give us a reason to cry or a reason to grieve over, maybe a loss of a grandmother or a parent or a sister or a loved one, whoever it was. And sometimes what it takes, guys, is a story like this to make us grieve. A lot of people don't have, they have pride or whatever, or they're too busy in their life to grieve, or maybe they're far away from the loss of a loved one, and they're not able to make the funeral or whatever, and maybe they never grieve about it. Well, maybe years later, somebody reads a story like this or hears a story like this, me reading it, and this is what it takes to make somebody finally cry about losing someone close. And if that happens, then it's a good damn thing. And I think that's the purpose of this. So anyway, he's trying to be strong for his dad, and he's talking about the rock and the stable unit that his father's always been his whole life for both him and his mother. And now he's the one breaking down, and it's like, you know what? It's my freaking turn to be strong for him. Jacob says, I'm going to go check on Mom's condition. I'm going to see if I can go see her for a while. I stood up to go to the nurse's station, but Dad stopped me by grabbing my hand. His tired, worried eyes stared up at me. And Jacob, are you sure? I don't think it's a good idea. Your mom, you need to understand, she truly doesn't look good. And he broke down, crying again. Even at this stage, when he was so broken, I still felt the need to shield his son. He still felt the need to shield his son from the hurt that he must be facing. Wow. That is true. His father, even as broken as he is right now, knows that his son is going to be overwhelmed with emotion when he sees his mother looking like she does. This guy is a real freaking hero, like so many fathers out there are. Expensive MC, thanks so much for subscribing. I appreciate it. No, but this guy's a real hero. You can tell anybody in that broken of a state, losing or coming to this kind of a situation with a lifelong wife of probably 50 years or whatever, and being a broken mess, but still trying to protect your kid, your son, from seeing his mother in that state, a real hero, for sure. And I think a lot of times, in real life, in these real situations, we don't stop long enough to see that. Maybe we feel it instinctively, but we don't stop and think about it. Like, wow, he's really a hero. We don't recognize that. Don't worry, Dad, I can handle it. Sure you can, Jacob. Sure you can. He's going to break down crying, and probably so am I when it happens. I held both his hands reassuringly. I walked to the nurse's station and inquired. I asked with whatever strength I had earlier disappeared, as I knew I would be faced with something that would probably shake me up badly. Yep, he knows that it's going to shake him up pretty badly. His dad knows it's going to shake him up. and I think we know. Oh, you are Mr. Cutler's son. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry about your mother. Your dad has been here since yesterday, and he's never left since. We're quite worried for him. My mom, what's her condition like now? Can I go see her? Yes, your mother. Oh, I see your father hasn't updated you. I assume you haven't seen Dr. Carter yet? No, I just arrived. Yes, that's right. I noticed you and, my wife. Yes, your wife came in, but I thought you had met with a doctor already. Dr. Carter's still on duty. Hang on, let me page him to come over. It's probably best that Dr. Carter updates you, himself on your mom's current condition. Oh, wow, this doesn't sound good. Why? Is it bad? And a sudden anxiety came over me again. Oh, boy. Dr. Carter will be here shortly. Please, have a seat. My heart was beginning to pound again as I made my way to Dad, who was looking up at me now. Where's the son, nurse? Turning around, I saw a rather tall man in a white coat standing over the nurse's station, and the nurse pointing over to me. Mr. Cutler? Yes, just please call me Jacob. Yes, Jacob, your dad did tell me you were coming. I spoke with you yesterday. Yes, sorry, I didn't quite recognize your voice. No worries at all, Jacob. I'm glad you're here. Your dad can rest now. I think he needs it badly. I haven't seen him really sleep except dozing off here and there. And on your mom's condition, well, we've managed to stabilize her heartbeat and her blood pressure. We have given her something to stop her bleeding, and hopefully her hemorrhage will stop soon. She is still not out of the woods yet, though. She is suffering from a concussion, and there is swelling on the brain. However, at least the blood pressure looks promising. See, this is what I hate. I remember seeing this last time in this visual novel, how there's no way to actually read it all. It's, like, I don't know how much I'm missing here. Am I missing 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines? They need to fix this. They need to make sure that all the text actually fits on the screen. That's the one big problem I have with this VN is, for whatever reason, sometimes we can't read all the text, and I feel like we're missing something. But will she be alright? That I cannot promise you. But let's hope for the best, huh? We're doing all we can. Doctor, exactly what are her chances? I was surprised at even myself for asking, but I needed to know. Well, to be honest, it doesn't look too good, Jacob, but we are trying. She is in a comatose at the moment, and there's no guarantee that she will ever wake up, even if she does pull through. And even if she does, she would be most likely suffering from severe brain damage and would be in a paralyzed state. Also, she would most likely not have any recollection of her memory, meaning that she would probably not even recognize you or anyone in her family. The damage to her brain is pretty massive. Oh my God. Guys, this can't be any worse. Even if she lives through this, she's had such severe brain damage, she's not even gonna freaking recognize Jacob or her husband or anyone, according to the doctor. Not only that, it sounds like the chances of her even living are slim. But even if she does, that might be the worst case scenario. Man, this is awful. This is like the worst possible thing that could happen. Expensive says, I have a question beyond the margin of Creativerse. That is, I would like to have an early access account. Do you have any? Nope, I don't have any, Expensive, and you wouldn't ask that in a visual novel like this. Angel, I'm not a feminist, and this usually never bothers me, but why is the doctor always a man and the nurse always a woman? And I don't even know. I don't even know, Angel. I mean, I'm giving them those voices, but you're right. I mean, the nurse could have been a man for all I know. But that's a good question. I looked down at hearing that. I couldn't contain my tears. God, she didn't deserve this. I am sorry, Jacob. Yeah, thanks, doctor. Can I see her? Actually, we're discouraging any visit into her ward right now at this time until we are clear that she's properly stabilized. But, you know what, I guess you can go in for a while. Thank you, doctor. I will tell the nurse about this. I need to go on my rounds now, but if you need me, just get the nurse to page for me, alright? Alright, Doc, thanks. No worries, and Jacob? I looked up. Yeah? We're gonna do our best, okay? You do, and you and your dad, you need to try to get some rest. I appreciate that, Doc, and I will, thanks. Angel says the brain's resilient. It's amazing the things the brain can overcome. Keep the faith. Yeah, true. Good point. I was still not very sure if I would be able to go through with with it when a nurse called out to me. Mr. Cutler? Jacob, just call me Jacob. Okay, I'll make this the nurse a I'll make this nurse a man just for her Angel's sake. All right, Jacob. Dr. Carter told me to direct you to your mother's ward. However, we would really appreciate it if you could try not to make too much noise or touch the patient for now, okay? Sure. Please follow me. And Angel's right. I mean, a lot of times nurses are males. And a lot of times doctors are females. Again, my heart raced, not knowing what to expect. Stopping outside one of the wards with its door closed, a nurse motioned to me. I must warn you, Jacob, half of her facial features are badly wounded, and her face is swollen badly. I just want to make sure you're prepared. And she was about to reach for the door handle, and I spoke. No, this nurse was a female. She. Wait, sorry, nurse. Just a second, okay? I suddenly felt a tight knot running up my tummy and was a little giddy at this point. I almost felt nauseous. Mr. Jacob, are you okay? You don't look so good. Maybe you would like to sit down first? Or you could look from here if you're not able to go in yet. She was referring to the round, transparent glass window on the door that allowed us to just look into the room. Even at that, I was terrified. Yes, I think I won't disturb her, and I'll just look at her from here for right now. Man, he's even too scared to go see his mom. Yep. The nurse smiled and nodded. All right, but if you would like to visit her later on, just try not to get too near, and try to keep the visit short for now, okay? Okay. As I watched the nurse leave, I caught a sight of Dad sitting in the corner where I left him, looking at me. Oh, Jacob, be strong. Be for him and for Mom, I told myself. Taking a few breaths, I peeped through the round window and saw a figure lying down with a few machines and drips hooked onto her. Mom? The sight was so foreign and alien to me. The fact that my robust mom was actually lying lifeless with things hooked to her body, it was unreal. Thankfully for my view, I really couldn't see her that clearly. I knew I had to go in. The urge of needing to be with my mom was so strong, yet it scared the hell out of me to see her in that state. While we were still taking in big gulps of air, to prepare myself, I felt the familiar calm grip my hands. Oh, thank God his wife's there. Cool. It's actually kind of emotional that his wife comes in right then. That's actually great. It's okay, honey, I'm here. We can do this. Let's go in. That is awesome. She showed up just in time, huh? I gripped my wife's hands ever so tight, with both gratitude and love. Hell, I'm even grateful that she came back right now. She was truly my strength whenever I needed it. Like right now. I nodded my hand, and she slowly pushed the handle of the door open. He's going to break down in his wife's arms. As soon as Lisa opened the door, my heart started pumping furiously again. Upon taking a few steps forward, I gasped with horror at the sight that had greeted me. Lying on the bed was the familiar figure of my mom, but her head was so badly swollen that I could hardly even recognize it was her at first. I had expected to see some bad bruises, but my God, possibly some cuts on her face, but I never expected anything like this. Her face had swollen up so horrendously. Oh my God. That is horrible, guys. Could you imagine that? Oh God, no. Oh, Jacob. Lisa stopped dead in her tracks as soon as she saw my mother and instantly gripped my hand really tight. I couldn't help but turn away sharply as I cringed with the pain knowing how badly my mom had been abused and beaten to the end up in such a state. My mind swirled with just total disbelief, a part of me unable to comprehend what this was, that this was all really even happening. The fact that I was in the hospital witnessing my own mother in this state, the fact that fate dealt her with such a cruel blow, it just didn't make any sense. Yeah, at least they don't show the face on the screen. True. Giddiness and nausea swept through me again, and I felt my knees growing soft. I need to go out a while, Lisa. I'm not feeling so good. Jacob. Wrapping her arm around my waist, she looked at me with teary eyes, clearly concerned. I wanted to respond and leave, but before I could, my knees gave way, and I could feel Lisa struggling with my weight as I almost pulled her down along with me. Jacob, are you okay? She's going to be all right. You need to be strong. She can probably hear you and knows you're here, though she may not seem like she can. Hear us? Lisa, look at her. Look at the state she's in. Do you think she's capable of knowing anything right now? Oops. Let me go back. No. No. How do I go back? I forgot how I go back. Damn it. Okay, all right, I did go back. Sorry. Do you think... Anyway, look at her. Look at the state she's in. Do you think she's capable of knowing anything right now? God, what have you done to her? What have they done to her? The doctor says she might not even ever wake up. As much as I was trying to contain my grief and keep my voice down, I was too emotional and broke down crying. Lisa held me and cried with me, but then her body suddenly stiffened as she looked up towards the door. And I turned around, and I saw what she saw. Uh-oh, it's his dad. It's going to be his dad, I bet. Through the glass window of the door, I saw the silhouette of my dad peering in, looking at us. He must have come to check on us and must have witnessed everything. Oh, man. Jacob, please. Please be strong now for your dad and for your mom. Come, stand up. Trying to steady myself while Lisa struggled to pull me up, I told myself that I needed to stay strong. It was my turn to be his rock. Finally, when I steadied myself, I quickly brushed aside my tears and walked over towards the door. I caught tears flowing... This is freaking sad. I caught tears flowing down my dad's face over the other side of the glass panel. How was I supposed to convince him to be strong when I was such a complete mess myself, no matter I needed to be for him and for Mom? Lisa was still holding my hand and following behind me. Her fingers were stroking my palm and constantly pressing gently on it like a silent gesture of support, saying, "Everything's okay. You can do this." I firmly gripped her hand and opened the door. Dad was staring at me with teary eyes and a questioning look. I could see he was studying my face. She does look quite bad, Dad. But you know what? She's going to be okay. What about you? Will you be okay, Jacob? His question pained me deeply. As much pain he was already exhausted with, worries me. He worries about Mom and the uncertain future. He was still worrying about me. Dad, I'm gonna be alright. I just didn't expect her to see her this way. I'm fine. We'll all be fine. Please, Dad, don't worry. I tried to sound as composed as I could, though the image of Mom's beaten-up face still burned in my mind so vividly. He studied me with his tired eyes for a while and let out a long sigh of relief. Well, that's good, Sonny. That's really good. It seemed like a big burden that had lifted off his shoulders. I truly felt so amazed with the love of my parents. Even at their most fragile and vulnerable time, they still worried and cared so much to try and protect their offspring from hurt. It seemed a parent's duty was to it seemed like a parent's duty was never over, no matter if their child was already a grown adult. I guess I would be experiencing that soon with a baby. If I make it. Dad, why did Mom go to the bank? Lisa clenched her fist when she heard my question. I knew it wasn't the right time to ask, but I really needed to know, as it was the cause of this whole misery. I mean, also, she seldom went out without the company of Dad those days, so I was really curious. But as soon as the question came up, I felt regretful and looked down while awaiting Dad's response. He stared straight ahead in a dazed manner for a bit before he responded. She couldn't find the copy of the insurance you had wanted and thought perhaps we would have placed it in the safe deposit box while we sometimes keep our important documents. Oh man, now he's gonna feel guilty. Oh no. AJ's like, call it a hunch, but I think this is supposed to be an emotional moment. Yeah. You don't say, AJ, Angel says. Yep, even got more emotional now because now he's going to feel guilty that he had called him and pressured his mom into finding those insurance documents. She never would have went to the bank if he hadn't put pressure on her to find the documents, because he told her twice, have you find the documents, Mom. And she went to the bank, and now he's going to feel like it's all his fault. I choked upon hearing that while he continued, this time with his voice breaking into teeny sobs. I didn't even know that she left for the bank. I was having my arthritis pain that night before, and I remembered her saying she was worried that you would be calling soon and that she couldn't find the insurance copy. When I woke up, I saw a note on the dining table next to the breakfast that she'd prepared, saying that she'll make a quick run to the bank and check on the safe deposit box. She told me she didn't want to aggravate my leg's arthritis condition, so she would just go out without me and be home after she did that. He started sobbing again, but I was both shocked and at a loss upon the revelation. It was all because of the insurance copy I had asked her to look for. Yep. Dad nodded quietly. But Sonny, I don't want you to go blaming yourself now. Nobody would have thought this would happen. Your mom surely would not blame you. It isn't your fault, Jacob. It's not your fault. And I stayed silent. There were no words to describe the painful regret or self-blame I already had for myself now. But I could only keep it silent, as I had no intention to exhaust my dad with any more worries about me or my feelings. I just had to manage a sorrowful apology while hugging him tightly. I'm truly sorry, Dad. He gave me a tight, warm hug in response, with a soothing pat. It isn't your fault, son. It actually was. It was my own self-righteous, obsessive thoughts and demands that I forced onto others, and the fault of all those murderous bastards that did this to my mom. I closed my eyes, wishing that God would give me another chance to turn back and correct this nightmare of my doing. I held on to my dad in shame for quite a bit, not knowing what else to say to him, yet wanting so badly to seek his forgiveness. Yeah, I think his dad's already forgiven him. Yeah, I know. You might have to make a part. You might have to make this part 4 out of 5, Zax. I know. I'm saying the same thing. It's been over 2 hours now, and it doesn't seem like it's close to being over yet. Yeah, the stream has been going on for too long. I think it's time to rebel against Zaxtor99. He whispered in my ear, "Are you sure you're all right, Sonny?" "Yeah, Dad. I just need to sit down a while." "Yes, you do that. I'll go in and have a look at her." I just nodded. The truth was I needed to be alone to reflect on everything that had happened. The dawning of this revelation and the truly devastating. What son would have caused his mother such harm and his dad such grief over a stubborn insistence over something so trivial? I felt so ashamed and devastated now. Why, God? Why do you need to do this to me? Why are you punishing me and those dear to me? Why haven't you punished me enough with my disease? And now you put such guilt on me? What have I done so wrong to deserve this? Even Lisa's pregnancy needed to come out at this stage. I don't even know anymore if it was a curse or a blessing. Honey, please don't blame yourself. I can see you're disturbed. I know what... Lisa, please. I need to be alone for a moment, okay? Just please. Lisa just nodded silently while I took a seat in the corner. I'm so tired with all the thoughts that are running through my mind. Images of Mom in that condition, my own condition, Lisa's pregnancy, Dad's uncertain future with or without my mom, Lisa's future with a baby with or without me, and the revelation of what just happened to my mother. And Lisa's like, God, I give up. I don't know what else or how else you want to punish me. I surrender. Go ahead. Why don't you just take me now? Especially for all the hurt I have caused my loved ones. Lisa, Mom, and Dad, I truly have no idea how to survive this, and I do not know what you want of me. You win, God. Damn. Physically and mentally exhausted, I collapsed onto the chair, feeling defeated. I could feel my mind drifting into a state of emptiness and calm, and something strange happened. In that calm void moment, I felt something awaken. It was a very weird experience, almost as if something had opened up, and I started to see things from a different perspective, and from a higher state of mind. Since the discovery of my cancer, my mind had always been in chaos, and had never had a chance to rest to be able to think clearly. Not that I ever experienced anything like this before my cancer revelation. Somehow, after I decided to truly surrender and resign myself to my fate, my mind suddenly seemed to be crystal clear, and I was actually hearing my mind making sense to myself. Why did I blame everything that was happening on external factors, or the universe, or someone, even myself, for something that I actually had no control over? Why was there always a need to feel like I needed to be in charge all the time? Why did I see everything in a bad light? Yes, I had contracted this disease. Was it to be blamed for everything that had happened? Did it only bring out the worst and the bad with it? Looking back, I thought without it, I never would have discovered so many beautiful traits about Lisa and my own flaws. I would still be going on with a life that we were used to and had taken for granted. I would still have an ego and a persona of needing to be in control and in charge. She wouldn't have seen the vulnerable side of me, and I would have never known she would love me enough to accept all my flaws and my greatest weakness. I would have never given up on my overly pragmatist way to have blind faith and to be more positive and enjoy the feeling of freedom and lightness that comes from just being in that hopeful, positive state. I would have never seen the side of Lisa being so strong. Yes, Mom was badly beaten and in a crucial state because of me. There was no denying that fact, but it wasn't something that I had wished for or that I was in control of, though I was to blame, and I was extremely regretful about that. On the contrary, it had allowed me to see that everyone has their vulnerability and weakness, even my dad, and that nothing should be taken for granted. It also showed me that life is very fragile and unpredictable. It should be something never to be taken for granted. It is definitely too precious to spend worrying and in sadness. As long as we still have light and strength in us, we should try to cherish every second and be a blessing to those around us. I also realize that sometimes it's good to have faith, even if it's blind faith. I realize from all that has happened that the only thing that kept everything from breaking down when the worst situation arose was hope. Hope in the worst condition. The human spirit would thrive when there was just hope. As cliche as it sounded, I finally knew the wisdom of having hope, as my wife had been wise enough to see all those times, and adopted the trait faithfully. Yes, from then on, I would keep striving in my possible means to continue and cherishing this life with hope, and accepting whatever fell upon my path, and to see the light of every event that fell before me. I thought that was the only thing Dad would look forward to and needed, as well as myself and Lisa, so the baby would have both parents around. I would not dwell in any more sorrows, but look towards the future with faith and hope. Even if I had to go, at least it was being spent in a happy, hopeful, and positive state with the ones that I loved, rather than moping in sorrows, regret, and negativity. And just like that, in those moments after I had decided, I felt a renewed sense of strength surge through me like a refreshing stream, crystal clear with hope and with peace. Funny how those past few days I had not once experienced pain in my gut or physical sickness associated with my condition. It could have been the medication, but it could have also been the whole whirlwind experience that had taken over my mind. Maybe it is truly that everything is in the state of our mind. However, I did know of one certainty that was being with Lisa in the state of positivity and hope did help very much. Jacob, honey, are you asleep? That is pretty cool. I opened my eyes. No, love, I'm not. Well, you were. It's been 2 hours since you sat here. We came in and checked on you, but you were fast asleep. You needed that, so we didn't disturb you. But you need to take your medication and your meal now. Besides, good news. Dr. Carter checked on your mom's condition while you fell asleep and diagnosed her condition as being stable now, and out of danger. He has arranged for her to move to another ward. She is not in ICU anymore, honey. Wow. What? It's only been 2 hours, and you and Dad came and checked on me? I didn't even know. And Lisa chuckles. Yes, Jacob, you were extremely exhausted, honey, and snoring quite loudly, too. Huh? She continued, chuckling. Well, she's happy. Wait, that's impossible. I wasn't even asleep, Lisa. She was smiling and looking at me while nodding, and she continued. Because the doctor realized your dad and us would probably be staying around for a while, he had sweetly arranged and put your mom up in an upgraded single room at the same price as a normal one, courtesy of the hospital, as there are a few empty ones at the moment. He said Dad needed that, and that we can all be comfortable in the same room while looking after her. It comes with a 3-seater should we need to sleep overnight to accompany her. The doctor says, though she is stabilized. See, we're missing lines again, damn it. Anyway, and with that, she looked down. He did say he understood we would be around her in the hospital for a few days, and he asked us to look into making arrangements for her. What do you mean, Lisa? Well, firstly, we need to consider if we would like to put her in this hospital's care, and to consider the cost involved, and if the medical insurance would be able to cover it. He said he doesn't know how long she will be in the state, and we have the option to take her home or move to another hospital if we decide to. If we decide to hire home nursing services and they have all the necessary equipment, he says we can bring her home. But of course, he says it's best if she stays under the hospital's care. It would be extremely costly for home nursing, Lisa. I know, and I don't think your dad is able to cope with taking care of her at home. I'd rather that he visits her daily whenever he wants. But we do need to make a decision soon on if we would like to transfer her to another smaller room or hospital that I think the courtesy extended to us on the upgraded room would only last a day or two. I nodded. Where's Dad now? Is he alright? Yes, he is, honey. Don't worry. He's stopped crying, too. He's just looking very, very tired. He's in the room with your mom, and I think he just needs to eat. Why don't you take him down to the cafeteria and have something? And you need to eat, too, and take your medication. What about you, love? You must be very tired and hungry yourself. The baby must be hungry, too. I sighed at the thought, and Lisa did look extremely exhausted. I'm good. I'm very full, actually. I had something with my parents earlier. Remember before they went home? I bought some snacks, too, and I munch on them when I get hungry. She opened her tote bag, and I saw a variety of snacks in there. Don't worry about me. You go persuade your dad to eat, please. If you need to freshen up, our carrier bags are already in the room. Bless the doctor. I don't even know what to do with our bags. Pretty awkward to have them all in a visitor's lounge. I couldn't help but laugh, and I had totally forgotten about that. But I guess it must have been quite a sight. Yeah, their luggage just down in the lobby. That's funny. Let's go. Lisa showed me the way to the new room. I had anticipated that I would start to panic again, knowing that I was going to see Mom, but surprisingly, my body felt calm and at peace. Enough sad. Or though sad, sorry. It was a pretty spacious room and had a small seating area, enough for us, our dad, to stretch himself to sleep, or on the 3-seater. Dad was sitting on a chair next to his mom and staring at her. I grimaced at my mom's condition, but I was able to look at her now without the need to turn away from the painful sight. I walked over to Dad and asked him to join me for a meal downstairs. He looked at me, somewhat with that questioning look again, probably to see if I was all right, and then he nodded. Craig, you guys go down and I'll stay here. You need to eat too, Lisa. Oh, I've had some with my parents. Please don't worry about me. Go ahead. I'll be watching her. And she smiled. Dad nodded. Lisa is truly a wonderful girl, Sonny. I know, Dad. Trust me, I know. I didn't know if I should bring the baby subject up to Dad during our meal, but I decided not to for now. We made light conversation and avoided talking about Mom's condition and the arrangements for now. Dad seemed to be coping quite well now, as I saw him managing a smile every now and then when I told him about me and Lisa, and that was a good sign. After our meal, we went back to the room. But as soon as I walked in, Lisa stood up with excitement. I could see she was flustered and kept waving at me frantically to go over. Dad and I quickly made our way over, and she was speaking in high excitement. She moved, Jacob, she moved. What, love? She's still alive, Lisa? She would move, I'm sure. Muscle twitch or something. What do you mean? I didn't quite get what she was getting at. Yes, it was a little weird to hear that Mom moved, but she wasn't dead. And I didn't know why it was such a big deal, if her muscle twitched or something. No, Jacob. She responded to me. She understood, Jacob. What are you talking about? Responded to you? What do you mean? I quickly turned to look at Mom, but alas, she looked the same and in the last position that I saw her. I could see that Dad was also in confusion, turning his head from Lisa to Mom. Lisa, love, please. I sighed. I didn't get what my wife was saying, and though I knew she was always positive and full of hope, it wasn't the right time, especially with Dad around. I was about to give her my usual long lecture of reasoning, but something in me stopped myself. No, Jacob. Let's listen up to what she has to say. Tell me, Lisa, what do you mean? What happened? I could see Lisa was getting so excited now, with her big eyes sparkling as she continued. After you guys left, I sat down and spoke to Mom. I held her hand like this. She quickly put her hand resting on top of Mom's hand gently. I told her about what happened these past few days, and that she needed to be strong and wake up soon because she needs to be there to watch the baby being born and to be a good grandmother. At that, I saw Dad almost falling aback from what he heard. He turned around to me. Is it true, Sonny? I was worried that it would not go well with him knowing that Mom may never get to see their grandchild, worried that it would sadden him even further, but I was amazed to see that he was extremely happy and excited with a huge smile anticipating my response. That is cool. I nodded. Why didn't you tell me, Sonny? He was beaming now with happiness and pride, looking at me with a look that I was used to until this all happened. I stammered. I thought it wouldn't be a good time. Are you crazy? I'm gonna be a granddad, and your mom's gonna be grandmother. Oh, this is such good news. And then he turned around and looked at Mom, and his face did show a sign of sadness and strain. But then he reverted back to his positive self and walked over to her. Martha, darling, did you hear that? All more reason you need to recover fast. We're having a grandchild soon. Lisa's pregnant. I was truly dumbfounded at Dad's reaction. But pleased nonetheless. Whatever darkness he had in him earlier was now replaced with zest and positivity. Come on, Martha. We will make it to see our grandchild together. Isn't this what you had wished for all the time? Suddenly, there was a hand jerk from Mom's hand, and the beeping machine beeped faster than usual. The three of us just stared at her, completely dumbfounded. No way. Did Mom really hear us? And did she really react to Dad's words? It is impossible. The doctor said. Then I remembered what Lisa said when we were having our arguments. God does perform miracles, you know. Martha? See? That's what happened earlier. She did the same thing, Jacob, but much more subtle. See, she can hear us. She understood. She isn't brain dead or whatever. Oh my God, Jacob. She was so excited and looking straight at me, tears of joy came rushing down as I nodded and went and hugged my wife. Yes, Lisa. Yes, and thank you, my love. Dad was still staring at Mom's hand and trying to speak to her excitedly. I quickly went up to Mom and gathered my courage to try to speak as composed as I could without breaking down from both joy and sadness now that there was a possibility that she may hear and actually understand us. It was also the first time I actually looked and stood so close to her. Watching her badly abused face truly pained me so deeply. Mom. It's funny how he calls his wife Mom. I took some deep breaths and tried not to hyperventilate. It wasn't easy looking at my mother's battered face without breaking down. It is Jacob, Mom. I'm here. Or no, this is Jacob talking. Sorry. I was thinking it was him. Because I know he called her Mom once for him. Anyway, this is Jacob talking. Man, I'm getting so emotional I can't even read. It's Jacob, Mom. I'm here. I think you would have heard the good news. Lisa's pregnant, Mom. I'm going to be a dad soon. And as I said that, my tears couldn't help but start streaming again, but more from the sense of pride and joy from the fact of what I just stated. I hope you're proud of me, Mama. Please get well soon because I want to celebrate this good news with you. You and Dad are going to be grandparents, and Mom, you need to wake up soon. By now, Dad spoke. There were tears in his eyes, but he smiled, so they were more tears of joy. She is, Sonny. She's definitely proud of you. We're both proud of you. He wiped off the tears from his eyes and gave me a hard pat on my back. A proud pat, sorry. Just then, there was another jerk of her hand, and the beeping started going a little erratic again. Oh my God, Jacob, are those tears? Oh my God, look, there are tears flowing down from your mom's face. Oh my God, Jacob, what should we do? Should we go get the doctor? Should we tell the doctor, Jacob? Yes. I hope he won't think we're nuts, but yes, miracles do happen. Diary entry. Hi, dear friend. I am glad I took you with me, though I don't think I have time to write much now, as we're all in an excited, frenzied manner because Mom had a reaction while in her comatose state. We are now waiting for her doctor to come, but he is taking a while because he just finished with a surgery. After Mom had a reaction, we quickly alerted the nurse, and she came in and checked on her. Upon seeing tears in Mom's eyes and her heartbeat a little erratic, she ushered all of us out of the room for now until the doctor arrives. They have stationed another nurse to accompany her while awaiting the doctor. I'm going insane with the waiting. Lisa and Dad are both deep in thought, and I need to do something, so I'm glad I got you with me. Let's keep our fingers crossed that I may return here for the next entry with good news, my friend. I need to go now. I think I see the doctor heading towards us. Diary entry. Hello, my dear old journal. It's been a while since I last wrote. Nearly 2 years to be exact. Okay, guys, I think we're nearly at the end of this. So I'm glad I went ahead and pushed through. So what's he going to write now? It's been 2 years now, guys. It's been nearly 2 years to be exact. The reason why it's been so long since I last wrote anything... Wait a minute, 2 years, guys? He's still alive. That's already a good sign. He's still alive 2 years later, which means that he's already had his child. Wow, I'm not even reading. I'm just looking at the chat. I'm looking for you guys to react. The reason why it's been so long since I last wrote is because I honestly thought I lost you. After the whole ordeal at the hospital, I couldn't even seem to find you. And after a while, I gave up and was resigned to the fact that I might have left you at the hospital. But hey, what do you know? You were right here all along. Apparently, I left you on the seat in the hospital, but Lisa saw you and took you along with her, though she simply placed you in a drawer without informing me of where and since she thought it wasn't anything important. And when things settled down, we had to instantly clean the place up too, since our little boy was coming. My wife ended up keeping you in one of those boxes in the storage room. I'm glad I went through our stuff and found you, though, because I have so much good news to write about. One of them being, as stated above, our child. He's finally born. Sean is 1 year old now, and he is such a bundle of joy. Lisa and I can't ask for anything more. And to be truthfully honest, we had always wanted a child of our own, and now actually having one, words can't even describe how we feel. I hope I can be a good parent to Sean and hopefully teach him the many wonders of life. Another good piece of news, I have is that today is our little boy's birthday. And guess where I'm writing from? That's right, beautiful Sapporo. We finally came here, my trusty journal. We decided to come here and spend a family vacation and celebrate Sean's birthday all together. It's truly a beautiful place. We've already been to the beautiful shrines and fun ski resorts and eaten tons of delicious food. It's snowing now too, by the way. The scenery is amazing from where I'm staying at. If all of this is a dream, I honestly do not want to wake up. Yeah, this is really cool. I mean, 2 years later, he's writing all this in the journal, and it's making us wait. It's making us anticipate what's going on with his cancer. How's his mom doing? You know? And I'm delaying that even more. Angel says, it was just surprised you didn't realize the significance 2 years had right away. Oh, I think Angel's saying I was just as surprised as you were. I didn't realize the significance that 2 years had right away. Yep, that's true, Angel. Yeah, I just realized it. I'm like, wait a minute, 2 years? That means he hasn't died of cancer yet, and that their kid's born. So Sean is our little kid. Anyway, another great thing I'd like to write about is that Mom has actually woken up from her comatose state. Can you believe it? Miracles. They do happen. Though she's wheelchair bound and is temporarily paralyzed, she's going for physiotherapy, and the doctor says she's slowly improving. To know Mom is hopefully going to be okay soon fills me with so much hope. I know I've been going on and on about things, but one last thing I'd like to share is that within this 1 year, I've actually gone to a holistic treatment. Surprisingly, during my third checkup, I was told the tumor had stopped growing. Oh my God, think about all the miracles going on here, guys. The doctor informed us that the amount of cancer cells had decreased lately and has turned benign. Wow. This is incredible. This is amazing, people. Of course, there's always the chance that they might change back, but I am keeping my fingers crossed. So, this is all that's been happening lately. It's been a crazy time, but honestly, I feel like I learned things about life in the process of it all. I got stronger, wiser, and the bond between me and the people I love is closer than ever now. It's weird and crazy, and the old me wouldn't say this, but sometimes in situations like these, one's need to have a little hope and a little faith. Oh, Lisa's calling me, so I have to go now. But man, it was great to be able to write again. I can't wait to see what other great things life has in store for us now. Until the next time. 1 year and 7 months later. Look at all the amazing things to eat. What should we try first, Sean? Looking around, Sean pointed happily at the stall selling, what is it? Taiyakis? Lisa and I could only chuckle in amusement, as it seemed our child had taken an interest in the fish-shaped cakes. Heading over to the stall, we made our purchase and started eating the taiyakis and feeding it to Sean, who thankfully seemed to like its taste. Do you like it? Natasha's like, oh, it's a girl. They had a baby girl too? What? Yeesh. He's so cute when he smiles. Oh, maybe it's their son Sean. No, they had another boy. Because it didn't say Sean. Lisa giggled, giving a quick peck on his cheek. He has your smile, vibrant and incredibly sweet. And he has your eyes, always curious and full of life. And with that, the both of us smiled warmly. Papa, Mama, that. Whoa, you already want more food? You're quite the eater, aren't you? Taking him from Lisa, I placed the laughing Sean onto my shoulders. Okay, so it is Sean. Never mind. I thought they had another kid at first because it said Natasha. I was like, who the heck's Natasha? Maybe it's an error in writing? I don't know. Anyway, I placed the laughing Sean onto my shoulders. Holding his teeny hands, I could hear my wife chuckling at us as I brought him from store to store, letting him try any of the dishes that he wanted. Are you full now? Yes. That's because we need to head to the shrine before it closes. Alright, we're going to a new place now. Are you excited? Yes. This human car is about to move now. Better hold on tight. And with that, we left the streets in a joyful manner and headed to where the shrine was. Wow, it's gorgeous. It sure is. The both of us gazed at the tall Tory in front of us, clearly in awe. Too bad he fell asleep in the taxi. I think he ran out of energy. He's been running and playing all around all day. I chuckled while carrying a sleeping Sean. Hey, Lisa. Yes, love? I can't believe all this is happening. Yeah, I know what you mean. Remember the night we spent on the park on the full moons at night, where I hoped to spend more years with you? Never had I expected this. Lisa smiled and took a hold of my hand. Sometimes I wonder whether this is all a dream too, but then I realize it's our new, beautiful reality, and it just amazes me every single time. We have honestly been through a lot, huh? Whoever knew we would actually have a son one day, and that we'd all be spending his birthday together in Sapporo. If someone told me this in the past, I probably would have laughed in disbelief and dismissed it as a crazy dream that would just never happen. But if I were to tell me right now, though, I would believe them, because sometimes we need to be positive and keep our hopes up no matter how bad a situation seems to be. There's nothing wrong with being realistic, but I've learned that there needs to be a balance. I learned that having hope or faith that something good could happen is not a bad thing. And I also learned that sometimes being strong isn't putting on a front or acting tough. It's being able to break down, but still stand up tall. It's about being able to support, but also be able to be supported by the people that you love. Life has its ways, and there are times we need to make choices. But there's also times where we need to let things go and simply look towards the bright future that we want. Though things might not seem for the best of conditions, they are improving, and that would always be better than nothing. Thank you, Lisa. What for? For making me into a stronger and a better person. Smiling, I wrapped my arm around her, gave her a kiss on her head. That is awesome. I'm looking forward to our future. Snuggling in close, I could feel Lisa smiling as well. Me too, Jacob. Me too. Here's to many more wonderful years to come. I love you. Yes, here's to many more wonderful years indeed. I love you too. And that is it, guys. We did finish You With Me. And wow, what a roller coaster ride of emotions it was. Highs and extreme lows. And I got to admit, I wasn't very hopeful for what was going to happen a number of times in the story, especially in this part here. I did not expect things to turn around like that, especially when they were going to the hospital. They were seeing his dad in tears. They were seeing the condition of his mom breaking down, thinking that he wasn't even going to live until his wife, had their baby. Man, it was really looking depressing, and I didn't even have a lot of hope. Maybe that's the realist in me, but hell, I think the story definitely taught me something about hope and having hope when you need it the most and when you are least likely to have it. Life can be very unexpected, Falconer says. Let me catch up on the chat. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are talking about the story's going on too long. I think it's time to rebel against Zaxtorian 99. Falconer says, I would hope so. With these stories, they are very deep. It's easy to spend a few hours. Angel says, the moments of clarity, such rare and powerful experiences. I think she's talking about when he broke down and started screaming at God, and finally clarity came upon him, and he started realizing that, you know, he needed to be hopeful. And Falconer says it was pretty crazy for them to get to the hospital. You forget about the little things in situations like this, like luggage. It really isn't important at this time. And Falconer then later said, life can be very unexpected. Angel says Natasha is an error in the script. They probably started out intending the kid to be a girl. Yeah, I think you're right, Angel. And then changed at the last second and forgot to change the name tag. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Because when it said Natasha, I was like, what? They had another kid? But no, it was Sean. Falconer says, I'm happy things ended better here. Hope is good. Things don't always work out the way you say or want, but always have hope. Very, very true, guys. Well, guys, I tell you what. I honestly, I would not have read the end of this. I hadn't read part 3. It has been 5 weeks since I read part 3, and that part seemed to kind of drag on. It was honestly kind of boring. It was talking about her getting, you know, sick and stuff like that, and I couldn't really understand why she was getting so sick. Maybe you women knew exactly what was going on, that she was pregnant. I didn't catch it at the time. I was like wondering if she was catching the same thing he had. I didn't really know. But she was pregnant. And so basically part 3 was talking about her and kind of, you know, him doing okay, and she was having, you know, she was throwing up and stuff like that a lot, but she was pregnant. So it all makes sense now. And so now we kind of see that part 3 was actually all worth it. It all made sense with what happened. And I think this was well worth a read. I'm glad I went back and read this, but like I said, guys, I would not have even come back and read this. I wouldn't have even thought about it again, to be honest with you. Except that the other night I went and watched a movie called The Fault in Our Stars. If you guys haven't checked it out, there's a link that talks about it at imdb.com. You can check it out. You can see it has a good rating on IMDb. Go rent it. Go, you know, download it, whatever. Go watch it on Amazon Rentals, wherever, you know, Netflix, whatever. But it's called The Fault in Our Stars. A very, very good movie. And I guarantee you, if you don't cry at some point in that movie, you don't have a heart. It's a very good movie about, it almost has a love story like The Notebook or something like that, but it deals with cancer and death. So, really, really good movie. Highly recommended. But if I hadn't watched that movie the other day, that's what caused me to think about this story, because it also dealt with cancer. And I'm like, you know what? I should go back and do the end of that. So I'm glad I watched that movie. It was a great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. Definitely have a box of Kleenex ready if you do watch it. But The Fault in Our Stars, it came out in 2014. Angel says, really good story. A little too religious for me, but yeah, whatever. It was sweet. The details in describing emotions and reactions were very true to life. I agree, Angel. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty hopeful. I'm not so sure how probable that ending was, but, I mean, what's the worst you can do by having a little hope? You know? Sometimes I think the realistic part of us, the pessimistic side of all of us, you know, looks too grimly at our situations, and we don't have enough hope. And if anything, I think this story is one that is really good in making us look up and look to our future. However grim our future looks, with whatever's happening, sometimes there is a very bright future ahead for us. Falconer says, life works in strange ways, and I think life wanted me to be here tonight to watch the stream. Falconer, I am glad you're here. I am glad you also sound like you got something out of me reading this story. You with me. I'm glad all of you guys were here. Thank you so much for being here, Angel and Falconer and AJ and whoever else is here. And whoever else is watching this live stream, the recorded live stream, it will be left on my channel. It will also be put in the playlist. So there's 4 parts to it. Took me about, 7 hours to get through or something, but I think it was well worth it. I liked it. AJ says, after listening to a story like this, I like to go take a shower and pretend I'm Zaxtor99. Oh my god, AJ, don't start on me. Angel says, I don't think it wasn't a probable ending. Yeah, I mean, it could happen. Anything can happen, guys. Angel's like, oh my god, AJ. Guys, I love you guys all. Thanks so much for sharing this story with me. I'm glad I have a YouTube channel. I'm glad I have you guys as my viewers so that, I'm not just reading stories like this to myself. Because if I didn't have a YouTube channel, if I didn't have you guys here willing to listen to me babble and pronounce words incorrectly and use Dad's voice when I should be using Jacob's voice and all the crazy, stupid stuff I do when I read a story, if I didn't have you guys willing to sit through all that crap with me, then, I wouldn't have been able to share this experience with you. And I definitely like experiencing, good novels like this with you guys, my viewers. So be sure you give me a like, guys. If you're watching this or if you're watching the recorded version, make sure you comment down below. If you are watching the recorded version, let me know what you guys think in the comments, since you guys weren't able to comment live with me. But let me know how this story affected you. Did you listen to it all? Or did you just, forward to the end and watch the end? But how did it make you feel? What experiences in life did this remind you of? Let me know down in the comments below, guys. Thanks so much for watching and listening to me read You With Me, the visual novel. Another fantastic novel by Afterthought Studios. I've read a few of them now by Afterthought Studios, and every one has been really, really good. So, thanks so much for being here, guys. I love you guys all. We will see you guys soon in another live stream. I don't know exactly when I'm going to stream again, but probably will be in the next few days, actually, guys, because I have The Walking Dead to do next. I have to finish part 3, or yeah, season 3. I mean, episode 4 and 5. So I've got to finish out season 3 of The Walking Dead, and I'll probably start with episode 4, which actually came out like a month or two ago. I got to do that one. And then I got to do the last episode 5, which just recently launched. So expect more Dead by Daylight, guys. Expect more indie game reviews soon. I have a ton of indie games developers are giving me that I want to go ahead and at least play and get some of those video reviews out. And I definitely want to play The Walking Dead, the end of season 3. All right, guys. Thanks so much for being here, guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are the reason I'm here and the reason I read for 3 hours straight on a novel like this. I do it for you guys, my viewers. I thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being here with me tonight, guys. Have a great one. Love you all, guys. Peace out, everybody.